After I died on my wedding night, the scumbag went crazy. I died on my wedding night. On the day of my wedding, my husband abandoned me at the ceremony, making me the laughingstock of the entire city. When I was attacked by a murderer and dialed for help, he told me to just die after all. If I were dead, no one would upset my sister anymore. Before my death, I saw fireworks lighting up the entire city. They were originally meant to celebrate our grand wedding, but in the end, they became his way of pleasing another woman. I thought that with me, the obstacle, out of the way, he could finally be with my sister openly. But I never expected that when he found out my bones had been turned into prayer beads, which he caressed day and night, my husband lost his mind. Before my consciousness faded, I made one last phone call. On the other end, there was a noisy background, followed by a man's cold voice. "Suwan, have you had enough? I already gave you a grand wedding, and I was just keeping Anan company. What more do you want?" Blood was rapidly leaving my body. The murderer stood above me like I was an insignificant ant, watching as I gasped my last breaths. He knew I was about to die. There was no way I could fight back anymore. But I was unwilling to accept my fate. I clung to the last shred of hope. My white wedding dress was soaked by the river water, its hem covered in dirt. Looking utterly disheveled, I used the last bit of my strength and pleaded. "Shiyang, save me." Lu Shiyang impatiently interrupted. "Enough. Aren't you tired of this act yet? I'm sick of it. I'm not lying, someone is trying to kill me." Heh. He chuckled coldly. "Suwan, you faked illness before, and now this? What's next? Are you really that desperate for attention? Anan is your own sister. You're already Mrs. Lu, do you have to force her to her death to be satisfied?" The bone-chilling wind cut through me, but it was nothing compared to the coldness in his words. As I watched my own blood stain the wedding dress beneath me, I knew it was over. I swallowed my parting words and stopped struggling, my voice barely a whisper. "But Su Ningen is the one still alive, and I'm about to die." "Then hurry up and die. If you're dead, Anan won't have to be upset anymore." Before the call disconnected, I heard a sweet, delicate voice. "Brother, the fireworks show is about to start." Lu Shiyang's voice disappeared. All I could hear was the roaring wind as my blood-stained phone slipped from my grasp and hit the water's edge with a heavy thud. The splashing water landed in my eyes, turning into scorching tears that silently slid down my face. As snowflakes danced through the sky, specks of light flickered in the pitch-black horizon, drones sparkling like a galaxy of stars. The deafening explosions of fireworks rang in my ears, their reflections blooming within my fading vision. He had spent half a year preparing this magnificent display to celebrate our wedding, but in the end, it became nothing more than a way to delight another woman. A message popped up, a photo of my husband embracing another woman under the dazzling fireworks. The same husband who was always indifferent to me now had a faint smile at the corner of his lips. As they basked in their happiness, I forever closed my eyes. They say that after death, souls go to the underworld to await reincarnation. If there is really a next life, I never want to meet Lu Shiyang again. But fate had other plans. When I regained consciousness, the first thing I saw was a pair of lovers locked in a passionate kiss beneath the starry sky. It was my husband, Lu Shiyang, and my dear sister, Su Ningen. "Lu Shiyang, you can't do this." I lunged at them in a frenzy, only to have my hands pass right through their bodies. I looked down in shock at my nearly transparent form. No one could see me. It finally hit me. I was already dead. And yet, my soul had somehow ended up here, right beside them. Watching them, my heart ached in a way I never knew was possible even in death. I was the one who grew up with him, his childhood sweetheart. Not long ago, Lu Shiyang had sworn to me that he only saw Su Ningen as a sister, that I was the only one he had ever loved. Another firework exploded in the sky with a thunderous boom. Startled, Lu Shiyang abruptly pushed Su Ningen away. "Anan, we can't do this." Su Ningen's face was still flushed, her delicate features even more alluring in the firelight. She bit her lip and murmured, "Brother, I didn't mean to, I just couldn't help myself." Lu Shiyang stroked her hair. "All right, I don't blame you. Let me make a call." I watched as he took out his phone, dialing my number. A cold shiver ran through me. Over 20 years of love and devotion, and in the end, it was worth nothing. Even when he finally thought of me, it was only after making love to Su Ningen. The dial tone rang once, twice, 3 times. But no one answered. For years, I had kept my phone on standby 24/7. Whenever Lu Shiyang called, I never let it ring more than 3 times before picking up. But Lu Shiyang, I'm already dead. How could a dead person answer your call? Lu Shiyang frowned. Anan, I'm going to check the location Su Wan sent me. Oh? So you finally remembered me. Before I died, I had sent my location to Lu Shiyang. If he hurried over, he might still be able to retrieve my body. If too much time passed, who knew what that deranged murderer would do to my corpse? A soft, delicate hand grasped his wrist. Brother, can you stay with me? Su Ningen pleaded pitifully. A flicker of hesitation crossed Lu Shiyang's eyes. But Su Wan. She always loves to put on a show. Remember when she claimed to be having surgery, and you abandoned a $1 billion deal to rush back, only to find her perfectly fine? Or when she said someone was stalking her, but nothing happened? My sister has been spoiled since birth. She loves playing these little tricks. She is the heiress of the Su family. Who would ever dare harm her? Her words erased the last of Lu Shiyang's doubts. He rubbed his weary temples. If only Su Wan were half as sensible as you. Su Ningen smiled, and so did I. Yet, in the past, he used to say, only unloved children need to be sensible. My Wanwan should be carefree and unrestrained. Lu Shiyang never came looking for me again. Instead, he took Su Ningen to our wedding suite. I stood at the door, unwilling to let her pass. But it was as futile as an ant trying to shake a tree. Su Ningen walked right through my body with a smile. Whether alive or dead, I could never stop her. Su Ningen stepped out of the bathroom wearing my nightgown, the very one I had planned as a surprise for Lu Shiyang on our wedding night. Seeing the delicate curves beneath the sheer fabric, Lu Shiyang's Adam's apple bobbed, and his pupils darkened. Having been with him for so long, I knew all too well that this was a sign of his desire. Watching the growing intimacy between them, I was both furious and heartbroken. Anan, this is Su Wan's clothing, Lu Shiyang reminded her. I know. She wrapped her arms around his neck. Brother, I know you haven't loved my sister for a long time. The one you truly like is me, isn't it? Su Ningen, that's enough. Lu Shiyang's voice turned cold. Tears streamed down Su Ningen's face, large and heavy, making her look pitiful, like an abandoned kitten. She choked out, after tonight, you'll be my brother-in-law. I'm not greedy. Just one night, okay? Brother, I want to be your woman. I can agree to anything else, but not this. Lu Shiyang pushed her away. Su Ningen stomped her foot. Fine. If you don't want me, I'll give myself to someone else, the delivery guy, the janitor, a male model, or even a beggar under the bridge. You're being ridiculous. Anyway, you don't want me anymore. You want to even fulfill this one wish of mine. Lu Shiyang yanked her into his arms and silenced her with a kiss. I screamed in agony, but no one could hear me. Lu Shiyang, the man I had loved for over a decade, was now entangled with my sister in the very room meant for our wedding night. I witnessed it all. That night, Lu Shiyang finally unleashed all his long-suppressed emotions. As dawn broke, sunlight spilled across Su Ningen's body, now covered in traces of their passion. She shyly buried herself in Lu Shiyang's embrace. Regaining his senses, Lu Shiyang looked somewhat regretful. Anan, last night I sneered. What was the point of regret now? Filthy. Brother, don't worry. I want to tell my sister. From now on, you'll be my brother-in-law. I'll go abroad to study and never appear in your life again. Lu Shiyang frowned. Who told you to leave? You? Before he could finish, his phone rang. The voice on the other end was stern. Mr. Lu, this morning a custom-made wedding gown was retrieved from the river. Upon verification, it matches the one your wife, Su Wan, was wearing yesterday. Please come to the station to assist with the investigation. Chapter 2, Su Wan, what trick are you playing? Hearing the police officer's voice, I was curious when Lu Shiyang learned of my death, would he feel even a little sadness? He would, right? Would over 20 years of feelings really disappear so easily? Yet, there was not a trace of anxiety on Lu Shiyang's handsome face. He asked nonchalantly, just the wedding dress? Yes, at the moment, we've only found the dress. However, Miss Su may be in danger. We cannot rule out the possibility of suicide. We discovered traces of. Before the officer could finish, Lu Xiang forcibly interrupted. I don't know who reported this, but I know Su Wan very well. She would never commit suicide. She has played this trick many times before. There's no need for you to waste police resources on such a childish, spoiled act. His words caught the officer off guard. They had just gotten married yesterday, yet as a husband, he showed no concern for his wife at all. The officer wanted to say more, but Lu Xiang had already hung up the phone. I suddenly wanted to laugh at myself for ever believing that Lu Xiang still had any feelings left for me. Lu Xiang, I'm dead. Even the police have called you, yet you still think I'm playing some spoiled princess-esque game. Su Ningguan wrapped herself around Lu Xiang like a snake. Brother, what if sister is really in danger? Lu Xiang frowned. Yesterday, over the phone, Su Wan did sound weak as if she was calling for help. Maybe she was still mad that I tried on her wedding dress earlier, so she threw it into the river. But we are the ones who truly love each other. I've already held back my feelings and given you to her. What more does she want? That dress was designed according to your preferences anyway. Did she really have to be so petty just because I tried it on? A wedding dress worth millions just thrown away like that. And now she is making a scene at the police station. Isn't she just deliberately embarrassing the Lu family? The uneasiness in Lu Xiang's heart instantly disappeared, and the familiar look of disgust toward me returned to his face. A week ago, I had received a call to try on my wedding dress, only to find that Su Ningguan had already put it on first. Even the color and size I had chosen had been altered to fit her. When I asked her to take it off, I hadn't even raised my voice, yet my family immediately scolded me, saying it was just a dress, why couldn't my sister try it on? She stood there in my wedding dress, holding onto Lu Xiang in his groom's suit. Anyone who didn't know better would have thought she was the real bride, while I was just an accessory. Their favoritism had all started when Su Ningguan fell into the river at 5 years old. I jumped in to save her but failed. I hit my head on a rock and passed out. When I woke up, I learned that it was the young master of the Lu family who had saved me, while my sister had disappeared into the river. That was how I became connected with Lu Xiang. We grew up together as childhood sweethearts. At 18, Lu Xiang's father brought his stepmother into the family, and Su Ningguan followed her. At that time, Lu Xiang despised her to the core. 3 years ago, at my engagement banquet, Su Ningguan suddenly regained her memory and declared herself to be the long-lost fifth daughter of the Su family. As the family rejoiced, she suddenly knelt before me, clutching my dress and crying, "Sister, why did you trick me into going outside that day and push me into the river?" I was completely dumbfounded. I hadn't even known she was my lost sister. I had always treated her well, whether as her sister or her future sister-in-law. Her accusation was like a hammer striking my head, leaving me utterly stunned and defenseless. She continued to plead, "Sister, I promise I'll be good from now on. I won't fight with you for anything. Please don't hurt me anymore. I just want to see Mom, Dad, and brother again. Let me come home, okay?" My father raised his hand and slapped me hard. "I never imagined that you could be so vicious at such a young age. Ningguan was only 5. How could you bear to do that?" Panicked, I tried to explain, "It's not like that. I didn't push her. I didn't. She's your own sister. Why would she tell such a huge lie to deceive us? Ningguan, my poor daughter, you've suffered so much all these years." My mother held her, crying uncontrollably. "Yes. She was my own sister, why would she do this to me?" What was supposed to be my engagement banquet turned into a dramatic family reunion, and I was branded the vicious sister, with no chance of clearing my name. I cried until my makeup was ruined, my voice hoarse from trying to explain, but no one was willing to listen. Even Lu Xiang's usually kind father gave him a look, telling him to take me away to fix my makeup. From his gaze, I could see the words, "disgraceful embarrassment." I clung to Lu Xiang like a drowning person, desperately trying to explain. He pulled me into his arms, gently patting my back. "I believe you. How could I not believe you? You're the kindest, most gentle girl in the world, my Wanwan. But now, the man who once stood firmly by my side had become like this?" I stared blankly at the two people in bed, my heart filled with sorrow. It turned out that no matter how much grief I felt after death, my empty eye sockets could no longer shed tears. Even without a heart, my chest felt hollow, as if the wind blew right through it. I tried to leave, but I found I couldn't move more than 3 meters away from him. I could only watch as they got out of bed together. Su Ningen wore my new clothes and sat at my dressing table. She held up an eyebrow pencil and playfully asked Lu Xiang to draw her brows, as if they were the real husband and wife. When Lu Xiang's gaze swept over our wedding photo, his movements paused slightly. Enough, Anan. Didn't we agree that after last night, everything would return to normal? Yes, I understand. I won't disturb you and sister. Su Ningen lowered her head, looking pitiful. Lu Xiang took out his phone and called my number, still no answer. If he had asked the police to trace my location at that moment, he might have found my body. But he didn't. Instead, he scowled and put his phone away. I heard him scoff coldly. Su Wan, looks like I've really spoiled you. Yes, sister is always playing hard to get. Brother, don't worry. She's probably back at the Lu residence, ignoring your calls on purpose to make you anxious. Lu Xiang's expression turned even colder. Today is the day we serve tea to the elders. Such an important occasion, Su Wan will definitely be there. Let us go. I want to see what trick she's playing this time. Chapter 3. Did you find out I'm dead now? Lu Xian's stepmother Bai Lan originally had a daughter with Lu's father, but she died young, leaving regrets in their hearts. Later, by chance, they adopted Su Ningen. In the 3rd year after Mrs. Lu's death, Lu's father welcomed Bai Lan into the family, and she instantly became Mrs. Lu. Because of Su Ningen, she doesn't like me. As soon as he saw Bai Lan, Su Ningen called out obediently, "Dad, Mom." Father Lu's eyes fell on Lu Xiang and he suddenly became angry. "Rebellious son, you still remember to come back, you have brought shame to my Lu family." At yesterday's wedding, Lu Xiang and I were about to exchange rings when Su Ningen called and said that her heart was aching badly. Lu Xiang then ran out without caring about anything, making me the laughingstock of the whole city. Su Ningen knelt in front of Father Lu in a hurry. "Dad, it's all my fault. I thought my heart was hurting at the time, so I called Xiang. I didn't expect it to turn out like this. If you want to blame someone, blame me. It has nothing to do with my brother." Bai Lan hugged Su Ningen tightly, and then got heart palpitations because her sister pushed her into the water. Besides, her in-laws didn't say anything. "Why are you so angry? Anan, be good and get up quickly. The ground is cold." Such scenes have happened frequently in the past 2 years. Every time Su Ningen and I have a conflict, Lu's father always picks it up high and then puts it down gently. In the end, Su Ningen took all the benefits, leaving me with only the bitter fruit that was hard to swallow. Lu Xiang looked around but didn't see the familiar person, so he asked, "Dad, where is Su Wan? How dare you mention her? You left her at the wedding yesterday and made her suffer a lot of criticism. She appeased the guests, took her wedding dress and said she was going to change clothes. She has not come back since then. She brought dignity to the Lu family, but you trampled on her dignity." Lu Xian's face changed slightly. "You said she didn't come back, then where did she go?" "She sent me her location last night." Lu Xiang took out his cell phone, his fingers turning slightly white. The police called me today and said that Su Wan's wedding dress was found in Binjiang." "Oh." I laughed. Did he only realize now that I was dead? Where did she go? How would I know? Why didn't you think of her when you ran away from your marriage? Who are you pretending for now? "Dad, I'm going out for a while." "Brother, I'll go with you." Looking at his slightly flustered back, I just found it ridiculous. Is it too late to panic now? Police station. Lu Xiang got straight to the point. "Officer, what's going on?" "Mr. Lu, a wedding dress was found floating on the river this morning. People jogging there thought it was a floating corpse and reported it to the police. After we salvaged it, we found out that it was the couture dress your wife wore on her wedding." Su Ningen interrupted. "Besides the wedding dress, did you find anything else?" "No." The police glanced at Su Ningen. "My sister didn't throw the wedding dress into the water on purpose to piss you off, did she?" "Police officer, my sister often plays this kind of trick, but we don't have that much time to play with her." Su Ningen said it lightly, and the leading police chief Wang Yu couldn't help but frown. "Who is this lady?" "I am Su Wan's biological sister. My sister has always been cunning. When I was 5 years old, she tricked me out of the house and pushed me into the river to drown me. After I finally returned home, she framed me in every way. She likes to use the trick of inflicting pain on others to gain their affection. Listening to her slander, I tried my best to explain, it wasn't me. I never did it. I don't know how many times I have explained this, but in everyone's eyes, Suningen is the victim, and all my explanations have become excuses. I thought Officer Huang would be bewitched by her like those people, but Huang Yu's expression didn't change at all. We found some residual blood on the wedding dress. After extraction and identification, we found that it matched Miss Su Wan's DNA. There were also 2 holes on the wedding dress. Initial judgment was that they were left by a sharp weapon stabbing into the body. If Miss Su was wearing this wedding dress at the time, then her abdomen and back were both injured by the sharp weapon. So we speculate that Miss Su may have been murdered. Lu Xiang turned pale instantly, and the hand holding the disposable water cup shook, spilling the boiling water all over the table. Chapter for Miss Su was murdered. I looked at him mockingly. Lu Xiang, do you remember what I said to you when I called you? I'm asking you for help. Why don't you save me? Who are you showing this reaction to now? Impossible. Su Ningen denied it directly. There must be a reason why my sister was murdered. If it was for money, the wedding dress she was wearing was worth $1 million and was inlaid with real diamonds. Why didn't the murderer just keep the wedding dress? If the murderer was after sex, he should have destroyed the blood-stained wedding dress. Why would he just throw it into the water? Besides, who would kill someone and then take off the wedding dress and disappear with the body? This doesn't make sense. Yes. Lu Xian's eyes lit up. Did you find any other clues at the scene? For example, mobile phones, shoes and socks, or other personal items? Or murder weapons, bloodstains? Not at this time. Su Ningen made a conclusion. In my opinion, the elder sister deliberately took off her wedding dress, stabbed it with a dagger, sprinkled some of her own blood and threw the wedding dress into the water, deliberately creating a stunt. This damn girl is simply lawless. She used to use some tricks to win favor, but now she has even come to the police station. The person who was speaking was my mother. The Su family also received a call from the police station and came here for investigation. They heard their conversation as soon as they arrived. As soon as the Su family arrived, everyone from parents to brothers said the same thing. Huang Yu interrupted, Mrs. Su, calm down. Calm down. Officer, you are not young anymore and should get married and have children. If the daughter you love so hard turns out to be an ungrateful person who cruelly hurts her siblings, can you stay calm? The eldest brother looked at his watch and said, Mr. Officer, we are very busy. We are here today to tell you not to waste our trips just because of children's play. I stood there in a daze, my heart aching. Looking at my parents and brother who have loved me for so many years, their faces haven't changed, so why do I feel so strange? What evil thing did I do to make them hate me to this extent? All the police officers present found it incredible. One of them said, that's your relative. Now she's missing. Maybe she committed suicide or was murdered. Don't you worry about her at all. I know my daughter very well. She is so shameless that she doesn't even have any self-esteem. How could she commit suicide? Besides, she is Mrs. Lu. Who would be so blind as to harm her? Don't waste your police force. Maybe that damn girl is hiding somewhere and laughing at her. I have a meeting later, so I'm leaving now. The Su family went through the formalities and left in a hurry. I even heard my mother say, really? I haven't even finished my nails yet. You're wasting my time by calling me here for such a small matter. Mom, where did you get your nails done? They are so beautiful. Su Ningen came over. I'll take you there later to get a beauty treatment. If your sister, that damn girl, had listened to you, I wouldn't have gotten 2 more wrinkles from her anger. Most people had left, leaving only Lu Xiang who hadn't said a word. Mr. Lu, did Miss Su contact you before she disappeared? I heard that you ran away from the wedding yesterday. Miss Su suffered a serious blow and may have committed suicide. If you know any clues, I hope you can cooperate. After hearing this, Lu Xiang also got angry. It was clear that nothing had happened, but the officer's words seemed to have forced someone to death. He slammed the table and stood up. Officer Huang, you haven't found a body or the crime scene yet. Are you so sure that she is dead? That's your wife. Lu Xiang stood up and left impatiently. Then we'll open a case and investigate after we find the body. Chapter 5. You go salvage her body. Lu Xiang didn't believe that I was in trouble. He slammed the car door and called my number again. I heard a female voice reminding me that the phone was turned off. Lu Xiang opened WeChat. The pinned post that caught my eye was my sister. I saw the note she left for Suningen, and she even added a love heart after her nickname. Ever since we met, I have always been his top post. 2 years ago, I discovered that it had been replaced by Suningen. The person who used to impatiently call someone and gradually changed his name to Anan. When I asked about the pinned note, a hint of guilt flashed in his eyes, and he made up a high-sounding excuse, even saying that I was narrow-minded and aggressive. 3 years ago, after returning to the Su family from Suningen, he began to target me in every possible way. Under her superb acting skills, my parents and even my brother thought I was a vicious sister and hated me to the extreme. I thought Lu Xiang was different. We grew up together and he knew me best. He also changed quietly. He looked at me the same way as everyone else. Many things had been foreshadowed. Lu Xiang had already gone far away, but I was the only one who was still stubbornly staying in the past. Lu Xian's fingers slid quickly through the WeChat list. Because he had run away from his marriage and had to visit too many relatives and friends, he finally found my profile picture among the many messages. When I clicked on it, besides the location, there was also the last message in my life. Su Wan, Lu Xiang, let us talk. Lu Xiang stared at the message in a daze. After a while, he pressed the voice, Su Wan, where are you? I told you not to play this kind of trick. We are already married. Why do you have to make things difficult for Anan? Do you know how upset Anan was yesterday? If you come back now, I will forgive you for what happened last night. After sending these messages, he threw his phone aside. The assistant saw the fatigue and worry on his face from the rearview mirror, so he spoke kindly. Mr. Lu, Madam has always been a sensible person. She didn't get angry even when you threw her at the wedding yesterday. I don't think she would make such a joke that would alarm the police. Why don't we go look for her? You know her well. No, Mr. Lu, I just feel that the lady is very pitiful. Pathetic. He sneered. Lu Xiang taunted, she always likes to act and pretend to be attractive. Well, if you have time, ask someone to go to Binjiang and see if we can salvage her body. When someone starts to dislike you, don't ask why. All the reasons you can think of are right. I had a premonition that Lu Xiang would change his heart. From the moment he started to dislike Suningen to the point where 7 out of 10 sentences were about Suningen, I knew he had changed. He will remember Suningen's preferences and tastes. When he is on a business trip, in addition to bringing gifts for me, he will also prepare gifts for Suningen. Half a year ago, Lu Xiang went abroad to inspect a project. An earthquake occurred suddenly and the mountain collapsed. I booked a flight ticket as soon as possible and Suningen hid my passport and visa in advance. I couldn't go abroad, so she boarded a plane that same day. I risked my life to sneak across the Pacific Ocean, but ended up encountering a tsunami. If I hadn't met some kind people, I would have died in the sea. When I returned happily having saved my life, Suningen put a hat on me saying I was going to travel on the sea, and I wanted to explain the passport matter. She opened the drawer in front of everyone, and the passport inside put me in a situation where I couldn't clear myself even if I jumped into the Yellow River. Lu Xiang didn't listen to my explanation and spoke harshly to me. Looking at this unrecognizable lover, I decided to end everything. Lu Xiang, let's cancel the engagement. Are you kidding? He frowned and looked at me unhappily. I said calmly, I have tried my best in this relationship. I don't want us to go from supporting each other to never seeing each other again. Let's end it now while we don't hate each other that much. When he realized my seriousness, Lu Xiang finally showed some panic in his eyes. From that day on, he made a promise to me and also expressed his intention to draw a line between himself and Suningen. Gifts were given to me one after another, a grand proposal ceremony was prepared, and they started to plan our wedding. I thought I would be happy forever. 3 months ago, we had sex after drinking one time, and I got pregnant with his child. I wanted to tell him the good news. After seeing that she was tricked by Suningen, she fell down the stairs by herself. Lu Xiang rushed over angrily and picked her up from the ground. I rushed over and wanted to explain, but he pushed me to the ground mercilessly. It was then that I realized that the sweetness during that period was just a mirror that covered up the truth. It only takes a slight break to break it into pieces. It turns out that the person he believed in was Suningen all along, regardless of whether there was evidence or not. I was pushed to the ground and my lower abdomen was in so much pain that I passed out. The doctor checked and the fetus was unstable. I stayed in the hospital for those few days to preserve the fetus. I learned from his assistant that he was preparing a big project, and he didn't come to see me even though he knew I was in the hospital. But I don't care about him at all. The only person I care about in this world is this child. I must give birth to this baby safely. But I didn't expect that the person who came was Su Ningen. She stood in front of the bed and described vividly how Lu Xiang hugged, kissed, and caressed her. I just felt my stomach churning and my body was wet, as if liquid was flowing out. I was too weak to press the bell and had to call the doctor. I got out of bed in a panic. Even if I had to separate from Lu Xiang, I had to keep this child. When I got out of bed, I saw the glaring bloodstain on the bed. I was in so much pain that I broke out in a cold sweat and walked towards the door step by step. Blood flowed down between my legs and spread all over the ground. I didn't care, there was only one thought in my mind: my child, my child. Everything went dark and I fainted on the ground. Chapter 6: Exposing their affair at the wedding. When I woke up again, I was already lying on the operating table. The doctor said coldly, "The baby is gone. We're going to do a uterine curettage now. Miss Su, be mentally prepared." I called him after the operation and he said he was very busy discussing an important collaboration. I was so frustrated that I said I must meet him. When he rushed to the hospital angrily, without any concern, his face was full of disgust for me. "Su Wan, how long are you going to make trouble?" I swallowed the words I was about to tell him that we had a child. I looked at that still handsome face, which changed from being gentle to me to being hideous. "Why are you looking at me like that? Is this the surgery you were talking about? What surgery did you have?" I had just finished the operation and my lower abdomen felt like it was being stabbed by a knife. I was in excruciating pain. Faced with his questioning, I thought of what Su Ningen said. There is no greater sorrow than a dead heart. I don't want to make any more explanations. There is only overwhelming hatred in my heart. I have already said that we should cancel the engagement. It is his freedom to be with whomever he wants and I can't stop him. It was he who forced her to stay and promised not to have any more contact with Su Ningen. If I had backed out then, I wouldn't have gotten pregnant. He could hurt me, why would he hurt this innocent child? I clutched the bed sheet tightly, uncontrollable tears streaming down my chin. When he saw that my face was pale and my forehead was covered with cold sweat due to the pain, he realized that something was wrong. Wan, what's wrong with you? If it were in the past I would have argued a few words, but now my mind is filled with overwhelming hatred. What did I do wrong to allow him and Su Ningen to continue to abuse and hurt me? Why should that innocent child become part of their play? The Buddhist verse is right: from love comes sorrow, from love comes fear. Now I am a ghost that has crawled out from hell to claim lives. I will make them pay a heavy price to commemorate my dead child. I was admitted to the Su family's private hospital. Su Ningen dared to be so unscrupulous, he must have arranged everything in advance. Even if I told her the truth, she would take out the evidence she had prepared long ago to expose me. If Lu Xiang is willing to believe me, he will definitely be able to find out the truth, but now he only has Su Ningen in his heart. Even if Su Ningen caught him, he would not investigate further and would attack me again and again based on her one-sided words. I have experienced her methods many times. I won't be stupid this time. I knew in my heart that she did all this just to make me give up the engagement so that she could enter my house legitimately. I just won't give her this opportunity. I suppressed my grief and kept the child's matter to myself. This is my trump card. Only when everyone knows Su Ningen's true face will my miscarriage become a bombshell. Otherwise, just like several times before, you will be led by Su Ningen by the nose, making big things small, small things nothing, picking things up high and then putting them down lightly. Seeing me crying, Lu Xiang also panicked. "Don't cry. Are you blaming me for not visiting you during this period? I'm preparing a big project and don't have time." It seems that although he cares about Su Ningen, he is reluctant to give up the relationship he has had with me for many years. "Xiang, I had a dream that you didn't love me anymore. I was really scared. Be good, don't let your imagination run wild. How could I not love you?" Su Ningen thought that I would take this opportunity to have a big fight with Lu Xiang, and this marriage would definitely not be possible. She came over at the exact time to see me make a fool of myself, but she only saw me and Lu Xiang hugging each other tightly and her face turned pale. I changed from that day on. I was determined to find evidence of Lu Xiang and Su Ninggen's affair. Even though Su Ninggen used countless methods, the closest she could get was a kiss with Lu Xiang, and Lu Xiang did not break that taboo and touch her. But these are enough for Su Ninggen to mock me. She always deliberately sends me some ambiguous photos and chat records, and then withdraws them. Little did I know that I had taken screenshots and recorded them all. I was planning a big show to expose his affair with Su Ninggen at our wedding banquet. Chapter 7. Has Su Wan's body been found? I will destroy them and then leave this disgusting city. I will have nothing to do with them in this life. Everything was going as I wished, but I didn't expect Lu Xiang to leave at the wedding, and Su Ninggen didn't even show up. What's the point of exposure without the hero and heroine present? I had to interrupt my plan and look for another opportunity. But I didn't expect that I would die that night, and I didn't expect that I would witness his affair with Su Ninggen with my soul. I lost miserably. How can a dead person defeat a living person? I can't capture Lu Xian's heart, and I can't avenge my child. I am a complete loser in this relationship. Even if I died, Lu Xiang didn't want to know. I followed him and saw that instead of looking for me, he went to work as usual. It seems that whether I exist or not has nothing to do with him. All these years of affection were wasted. I really regret why I fell in love with him. In the evening, the Su family held a banquet. Su Ninggen came up to him in a pink skirt, took his arm and called him sweetly, brother. With that relationship, Lu Xiang also felt that something was wrong and subconsciously pushed Su Ninggen away. And then, stop making trouble. Your sister-in-law will be jealous if she sees you. The parents at the side smiled and tried to smooth things over. That damn girl Su Wan is so petty that she is even jealous of her own sister. I don't know how many dirty thoughts she has. The brothers rubbed Su Ninggen's head lovingly. Yes, she is not as pure, well-behaved and cute as our Anan. I just found it ridiculous to hear my parents and brothers stepping down on me and praising Su Ninggen. Is there any pure girl in the world who would seduce her brother-in-law into bed on her wedding night? It's a pity that they can no longer hear my voice, and even the ambiguous evidence I prepared before my death disappeared with my mobile phone. Lu Xiang looked around the crowd and asked, "Where's Su Wan? Hasn't she come back yet?" It turned out that he didn't care at all that day and thought I went home. How could he know that my family regarded me as an enemy? That place was no longer my home, and how could I come back if I was injured? The mother looked a little strange. Is she still in a bad mood? I thought she had returned to you. It turned out that no one cared about that trip to the police station. I couldn't help but feel sad. How could they be so indifferent to my death when I had never done anything to hurt them? The eldest brother felt uneasy for no reason when he thought of what the police said. Is Su Wan really so depressed? Why don't we contact the police to see if there are any clues? Su Ninggen lowered her head and sobbed softly, "It's all my fault. I shouldn't have called my brother yesterday. I really didn't mean to ruin my sister's wedding. I didn't expect my sister to get angry and disappear." A group of people quickly surrounded me again, thinking that I was just throwing a tantrum and immediately forgot about their previous concern for me. Lu Xian's brows became more and more furrowed, and this time, which was rare, he did not join everyone in scolding me. After the meal, he subconsciously walked to my room. I don't know what he was thinking, and his expression was very gloomy. Looking at the same usual furnishings inside, I wonder if he thought of me at all. He lit a cigarette, puffed smoke and called his assistant. "What's the result? Have you found Su Wan's body?" Chapter 8. He actually hid my body. The assistant quickly said, "Boss Lu, I have found hundreds of divers and thousands of boatmen to conduct a carpet search from the scene to the downstream, but there is no news of your wife." Lu Xian's tightly furrowed brows finally relaxed, and he immediately leaned back in his seat, a scornful arc forming at the corner of his mouth. "What did I say? She's always good at acting. Okay, call everyone back. There's no need to look for them." The assistant was still a little worried. Although the lady did not commit suicide, there is still no trace of her. What if? She must be hiding somewhere throwing a tantrum. Don't bother with her. She'll come back when she's done. After hanging up the phone, Lu Xiang looked at the photo of him and me on the desk and fell into deep thought. That photo was taken when I was 17 after playing tennis with him. The sun was shining and I had a bright smile on my face. I saw nostalgia in Lu Xian's eyes. Ridiculous, will he miss the old me? It was clearly him, the executioner, who took away my smile. Brother. Su Ningguan's voice came. She locked the door and sat directly on Lu Xian's lap. Lu Xian wanted to push her away, and then, stop messing around. Brother, didn't you want me so many times last night? You obviously love me, so why are you pretending to be a gentleman now? Su Ningguan pressed her breasts against his arm and whispered in his ear, "This is the room my sister used to live in. Don't you think it's more exciting?" Su Ningguan, this shameless mistress, even wanted to get her hands on my last quiet place. Get out! Get out now! I was furious and screamed with all my strength, but they seemed not to hear me. There was no lust in Lu Xian's eyes, but instead a hint of vigilance. "And then, you only mentioned once last night." "Brother, don't worry, I won't tell anyone. You won't suffer any loss from this. I just miss you." As she spoke, she grabbed Lu Xian's hand and placed it on her chest. "Feel my heart and see if it's beating fast." However, Lu Xiang did not act like he did last night. Instead, he pushed her away directly. "I have something else to take care of, so I'm leaving now." As he left, my body was forced to follow. Before leaving, I looked back and Su Ningguan's gloomy expression made him look more like a demon than I did. She whispered, "Brother, it's a pity that my sister will never come back." Their voice was so soft that Lu Xiang couldn't hear it, but I could see it clearly from her lip shape. My death must be related to Su Ningguan. It was Su Ningguan who killed me. I was like a madman and wanted to pounce on her and take her life, but I couldn't stay 3 meters away from Lu Xiang. All I could do was watch Su Ningguan's extremely disgusting face getting farther and farther away. Lu Xiang started the car. I was sitting in the passenger seat, watching the scenery passing by quickly on both sides, and wondering, could it be that the person who killed me was a killer hired by Su Ningguan? No, although that person had his face covered, his sharp eyes looked familiar to me. I must have seen him somewhere. Last night, my consciousness was pulled away after I died, and before I could discover his identity, I had already appeared next to Lu Xiang. The man threw my wedding dress into the water after killing me, so where is my body? I don't understand. If he just wanted to kill someone, he could have just disposed of the wedding dress and me. If it's for money, then the wedding dress itself is worth millions. Even if it's stolen property and can't be sold, the diamonds on it can be removed and sold on the black market. The photos provided by the police showed that the wedding dress was intact except for the knife wound. What does Su Ningguan know? Chapter 9. I didn't expect that he would be the first person to look for me after I died. When the car stopped, I suddenly realized that I had arrived at Binjiang. There was also a Maybach where Lu Xiang parked his car. Which rich person would go to the riverside to enjoy the cold wind in such a cold day? Returning to the scene of the crime again, I had mixed feelings. I recalled how I felt when I walked by the water's edge, dragging my heavy wedding dress with a dead heart. Although I hated him to the core, the relationship we had for so many years could not be completely severed in just a few dozen days. He ran away from the wedding, which was unexpected, hateful, but more of a disappointment. Between me and Su Ningguan, he finally chose her. Watching his back as he left gave me a reason to hate him completely. I was so desperate at that time that I didn't even notice there was someone behind me until the other person stabbed me cleanly. I looked down and saw the tip of the knife piercing through my body. I was confused at that moment. I saw the place where I fell. Even though I couldn't feel any pain anymore, I still subconsciously touched my wound. I lost a lot of blood last night, but it was all washed away by the rising and falling river water. I checked carefully and found that my cell phone was not there, nor were there any other items scattered in the water. "Uncle, when did you return to China?" Lu Xian's voice brought my thoughts back. I looked up and saw the man sitting in a wheelchair by the river. The black wool coat made his skin look cold and pale, and a face that was so delicate that it was almost enchanting came into view. Just a look from the man was cold enough to make people tremble with fear. He was the product of Mr. Lu's one-night stand abroad, and he looked like his blonde, blue-eyed mother. Handsome and seductive. Although the old man had a son in his old age, he was an illegitimate child who could not be seen in public. He was raised abroad and rarely returned home. In fact, he is only a few years older than Lu Xiang, and there is always an eternal chill lingering around him. From the first time I met him, I was afraid of him. As fate would have it, I was in danger several times and it was he who saved me. For example, during that tsunami, I thought I was going to die in the deep sea, but I happened to encounter his merchant ship. He asked people to rescue me to the shore and sent me back to the Su family. I wrote the wedding invitation myself and sent it abroad along with the thank you gifts I carefully selected. It is said that he had already left the Lu family and become a rising star in the business world abroad thanks to his outstanding business acumen. He doesn't have a good relationship with the Lu family, and we didn't expect him to attend our wedding. Liu Yanchen raised his eyes lazily, his gaze fell on Lu Xian's face, his tone was cold and sharp. Do I need to explain to you whether I stay or go? Lu Xiang was also afraid of this uncle who had crippled legs and had ruthless methods. Of course not. I'm just curious as to why my uncle is here when the wind on the river is so biting. He asked what I was thinking. Liu Yanchen raised his thin lips slightly. I am also curious, why are you not with your wife during your newlywed period, and come here to blow the cold wind? Don't be afraid of being laughed at by my uncle. Su Wan has a bad temper and is making trouble with me. At this moment, I saw the mockery in Liu Yanchen's eyes. I don't think she has a bad temper, but she is blind. She dares to marry a rubbish like you. Uncle. Lu Xian's face changed drastically. Liu Yanchen didn't even look at him again, and casually ordered, Aji, let's go. The man behind him, who was nearly 1.9 meters tall and had a scar on his brow, pushed the wheelchair, slowly rolling over the uneven stones. Lu Xiang clasped his hands tightly at both sides, stared at the back of the wheelchair and added, Uncle, after all, Su Wan is marrying me. I was stunned, not quite understanding why he suddenly said such a thing. It was obvious that Liu Yanchen and I didn't have much in common. Chapter 10 She Knows I'm Dead. After Liu Yanchen left, Lu Xiang stood by the cold and bleak river, staring at his phone. The screen lit up and then went dark, and messages kept coming in, but none of them were from me. He was probably thinking about the past. At that time, I had already noticed that his attitude towards Su Ningen had changed, and I would often get angry. But after getting angry, he felt that he was too petty. After all, Su Ningen was his stepsister, and there was nothing wrong in being nicer to her. I learned to deceive myself and overturned my own ideas again and again. I felt that I should not let such a small matter affect the harmony between the two families. After I figured it out, I would seek peace. It has been 24 hours since my last message. On this day, I was missing. Boom! Lu Xiang threw a stone into the water, and his angry voice came, Go ahead and make a fuss, let's see how long you can last this time. I stood beside him and smiled bitterly. When things were at their worst, I never left for more than 3 days. He thought he had figured out my personality and that I couldn't do anything wrong. I quietly stared at his handsome face, which was filled with anger. When I was 12 years old, I was trapped on the mountain due to heavy rain during the summer camp. It was he who risked a landslide to go back up the mountain to find me. I cried and threw myself into his arms, asking him why he was so stupid. What if I got him into trouble? He was covered in mud, but there was a bright smile on his face. He said that when he thought about how scared, sad and wronged I would be outside alone, he wished he could grow wings and fly over to me. I was still young at that time and didn't understand love. I only knew that this person's arms were very warm, and I wished he could protect me for the rest of my life. Now it was clearly his fault, but he didn't feel the slightest bit of remorse. Instead, he thought I was fooling around. Once a person changes his heart, even breathing becomes a mistake. On the 4th day after my death, Lu Xiang finally started to panic. He opened the chat page and was still on his last voice message. My phone is still turned off. Mr. Lu, your coffee. The assistant brought him a cup of coffee to wake him up. Only then did Lu Xiang realize that he had been staring at his phone for half an hour. It's been 4 days. Even if Su Wan is just throwing a tantrum, she should have had enough. Lu Xiang stood up, picked up his coat, and walked out with big strides. Mr. Lu, you have an important meeting later. Some other time. Lu Xiang didn't even turn his head. He drove all the way to the city and found Jiang Man. Teacher Jiang, someone is looking for you. I hurriedly went to greet her. Jiang Man was my good friend in high school. She was forced by her parents to give up her major and go to a normal school. Now she teaches in a middle school. She knew my pain, so she didn't look kind to Lu Xiang. What are you doing here? Su Wan is with you, tell her that if the situation continues, it will be embarrassing for everyone. Jiang Man interrupted sharply, No, Lu Xiang, you are sick, aren't you the one who threw her at the wedding? What did she do? So many guests were making trouble, and she was the one who went to apologize one by one. Who is shameless? Jiang Man's words directly touched Lu Xian's heart, making him look a little ugly. I don't need to explain to you, just call her and tell her to go home quickly. Jiang Man only then realized that I had not returned home in the past few days. She did not bother to continue scolding Lu Xiang. Isn't Wan at home? Why are you pretending? You are her best friend. When we had a fight, she always came to you. It is true. Jiang Man is my friend for life and death. I cannot ask this of anyone else except her. So Lu Xiang didn't he come to see me these days because he thought Jiang Man and I were together? Jiang Man's face changed drastically. Go find your mother. My grandma is critically ill. I went back to my hometown after the wedding. I just returned to work today. What happened to Wan? Did you, a bastard, make her angry again? Lu Xiang looked at Jiang Man's bloodshot eyes, the dark circles under her eyes, and her chapped lips. It was obvious that she had been up all night for several days. She was not lying. Su Wan was not with her. Where did she go during those days? Lu Xiang turned around and walked away quickly. Jiang Man's voice came from behind. Lu Xiang, if anything happens to Wan, I will never forgive you. I reached out to stroke the messy hair on Jiang Man's cheek, but my hand went straight through her face. I sighed helplessly. Man, I'm sorry I broke my promise. You must be happy. My hands can no longer touch her, and she can no longer hear my voice. His body was forcibly dragged away by Lu Xiang again. He answered a phone call and drove away. He stopped again with an ugly look on his face. He called his assistant and asked, please check Su. I just found it ridiculous that the man I loved for so many years was only ready to check on me on the 4th day after I disappeared. I guess my body must have started to stink. Before he finished speaking, Su Ningen opened the car door and rushed towards him. Brother, why have you been avoiding me these past 2 days? Su Ningen pouted, looking like he had been wronged. Lu Xiang didn't want their relationship to be exposed, so he cut off the call to his assistant. There was a hint of fatigue between his brows, and he didn't have the energy to deal with Su Ningen. And then, I have a date later. If it's nothing important, I'll go back to the company first. Su Ningen took his arm and said, brother, my art exhibition is open today, why don't you come to support me? Lu Xiang finally came to his senses. He had been so absorbed in his work these past few days that he not only ignored Su Wan's disappearance, but also forgot about the art exhibition that Su Ningen had been preparing for a year. It's my negligence. Let's go. Looking at the cell phone thrown aside, I laughed at myself. More than 10 years of time have been wasted. Su Ningen's art exhibition was scheduled at the Sea Coconut Gallery, which was the place where I had always wanted to hold an exhibition. Su Ningen and I have loved painting since we were young, and our father found a former dean of the Central Academy of Fine Arts to teach us. My teacher always said I was the most talented student he had ever seen. We were born in a family like the Su family. Painting can only be cultivated as a hobby at best. Our parents would rather we pay attention to finance. Whether she is managing the Su family or becoming a wife in the future, she can be a helper to her husband instead of being a vase who can only paint. I painted a lot privately during those years, thinking that one day I would have the free time to open a gallery of my own. I didn't expect that this wish would never come true until my death, but it was Su Ningen who realized it. She was always different from me. My family had a hard time finding her and loved her dearly. Even if she asked for the stars in the sky, I would find them for her. How could I bear to let her take on any responsibility? I followed the two of them, feeling a little sad. I died so suddenly, even though I still had so many things to do. I heard everyone's praise. Miss Su's painting is so good, she is really talented. It is worthy of God's gift. This water lily painting is very pleasing to the eyes. Water lily. When I looked up, the painting that caught my eye was clearly from my hand. When I turned around, I saw that besides this water lily, there were many other paintings that I had stored in the basement studio. Su Ningen actually moved my works to her gallery. How dare she be so blatant, unless she knew in her heart that I was already dead and would never come back? It was her. She must have hired someone to kill me. Chapter 11, The murderer who killed me is right here. As I realized this thought, anger filled my chest. People say that after death one will turn into an evil ghost and seek revenge, which shows that the rumor is not true. It seems like there is an invisible barrier covering me. Even if the enemy is right in front of me, I can't do anything. I could only watch as she took advantage of all my hard work day and night and gained everyone's praise effortlessly. Those paintings were not created to gain praise from others, they were created to heal oneself. Because of Sunningen, I have been very depressed in the past 2 years. I went to see a psychologist, and he said that I had severe depression. Medication can only suppress but not improve the condition, so he suggested that I stay away from the root cause of depression or learn to heal it. I knew very well that the root cause was Sunningen and Lu Xiang. At that time, I was so obsessed that I fell into an even darker abyss. Before I left the Su family, I often hid in the basement studio to paint, getting hurt and healing over and over again. I didn't expect that today, Sunningen would not even let go of these dead things. Suddenly someone discovered the signature in the painting, and it was like discovering a new world. When I was in junior high school, I participated in a design competition under the pseudonym S and became an instant hit. At that time, my parents had high hopes for me, but I was afraid that they would think I was wasting my time on painting, so I didn't even show up to receive the award. The account I registered secretly on the social platform has gained many fans urging me to update, and I release a work every year. Even Lu Xiang doesn't know this secret. Until 2 years ago, I switched to the wrong account and released new works from my main account. It became a hot topic overnight. I didn't care about fame, so I didn't explain and left it to my fans to guess. There is a lot of debate about me on the internet. Some people say S is me, while others say I am just trying to attract attention. I didn't clarify it myself, and everyone forgot about it in less than half a month. 2 years later, when Sunningen dug out those unpublished paintings of mine. I am used to hiding my signature in the paintings, so some old fans can easily recognize that it is my work and mistakenly think that the owner of the painting is Sunningen. The incident of me sending the wrong number 2 years ago was brought up again. Some people scolded me, while others were busy praising her. Sunningen has earned a reputation as a kind-hearted person with the title of Genius Girl. This incident was quickly posted online by people at the scene, and for a while the entire internet was filled with people scolding me for impersonating S. All the charity I did in the name of S was attributed to Sunningen. There was a complex emotion in Lu Xian's eyes as he witnessed all this. Even though he didn't know that S was me, he was familiar with my painting style. "And then, did you really draw these paintings?" he asked. Sunningen was about to cry, "Brother, if it's not me, then who else could it be? Didn't you praise my good painting before? I just think your style is a little different from usual. No one is restricted to one style of painting. I can paint in many styles. You can learn more about them slowly, brother." As she spoke, her fingers slowly moved down Lu Xian's chest. She was becoming more and more presumptuous. Lu Xiang didn't want to be seen, so he immediately shook off her hand and said, "The auction is about to start, let's go over there." I was forced to follow him to the auction venue, where many big names who love calligraphy and painting came today. Many of them were colleagues and fans who had come specially after seeing the news of S being exposed online, so the auction was packed with people. Lu Xiang walked through the crowded crowd and someone brushed past him. "Sorry." The man's voice was hoarse as if it had been burned by smoke and fire. He was hunched over and his face could not be seen clearly. The moment the man raised his head, a pair of bloodshot and sinister eyes caught my eye. Boom! My heart felt like it was hit by a heavy hammer. "It's him! The murderer who killed me is actually here." Chapter 12: Professional Killer. Even though his face was different from that night, I would recognize those eyes even if they turned to ashes. He was so good at disguising himself that his figure that night was clearly a 1.85-meter tall man, but now he was hunched over, and his face and exposed old skin made people mistakenly think he was an old man. Seeing the person who killed me right there at the exhibition, the pain before death made me instinctively fearful. He was so cruel. He appeared behind me silently and stabbed me from behind without any hesitation or mercy, as if he had rehearsed it thousands of times. I have always been kind to others, so there shouldn't be any enemies who would want to kill me. He is so good at disguise, could he be a professional killer? But he had already killed me, so why was he here again? Was there another prey here? My first thought was to escape, but a moment later I realized that I was already dead, so what was there to be afraid of? Lu Xiang patted his shoulder casually, without looking at him, and casually said, "It's okay. The man's eyes were fixed on me, the same eyes that followed me before I died. Cold, cruel, and without any ripples. Even though I had died once, I was still terrified of him. I stood there stupidly as if my body had been acupunctured. Can he see me? Just as I was thinking this, I heard Lu Xiang call out softly, "Uncle." I came to my senses and found that the man's gaze passed through me and fell on Lu Yanchen, who was sitting in the wheelchair. My tense nerves slowly relaxed. Lu Yanchen's attention was attracted by Lu Xiang, and the man started walking towards Lu Yanchen. Thinking about his cruel methods, I had an uneasy feeling at that moment. Will this perverted killer kill more people? He subconsciously opened his arms to block Lu Yanchen. The man left Lu Yanchen without any unusual movement. Shinji pushed the wheelchair and stopped in front of Lu Xiang. Lu Yanchen's gaze at Lu Xiang seemed to be filled with venom, which made Lu Xiang feel a little scared. As far as I know, Su Wan has disappeared since the wedding. Are you still in the mood to come to the gallery? I didn't expect that the one who cared about my whereabouts was not my family or my lover, but a man who had nothing to do with me. Su Wan is not a child anymore. It's her freedom to go wherever she wants. Besides, she has always been willful. She will come back naturally when she has made enough trouble. Lu Xian's indifference formed a sharp contrast with Lu Yanchen's serious expression. What if something really happened to Su Wan? Lu Xian's face was visibly panicked for a moment. Before he could speak, Su Ningen interrupted, "Uncle, how could something happen to someone like my sister? She flew to Yuncheng a long time ago." Lu Xiang turned to look at her. "What did you say?" "Brother, I just heard from a relative in Yuncheng today that my sister asked her to find a place to live a month ago. Yes, I have said more than once that I like the flower-paved roads, lush green hills, and endless snow-capped mountains in Yuncheng, and that I want to settle there. Half a month ago, I booked a flight to Yuncheng the day after my wedding. I planned to announce the evidence of Lu Xiang and Su Ningen's shameless affair at the wedding. I knew that doing so would affect the relationship between the Su and Lu families, so I decided to leave after taking revenge." Su Ningen continued, "To confirm it, I went to check and found that she had booked a flight to Yuncheng on the 15th. Lu Xian's expression changed drastically, from worry to anger. No wonder there was no trace of her. She left without saying a word. "Brother, don't be angry. I don't care much about other people's feelings. I come when I want to and leave when I want to. We are used to it." If Lu Xiang had checked, he would have known that although I had booked a ticket, I did not board the plane that day. It's ridiculous that he didn't even want to do a simple check and just believed it based on Su Ningen's words. When I smiled bitterly, I found that the sneer on the corner of Lu Yanchen's mouth was exactly the same as mine. Those dark pupils seemed to have seen through everything. Lu Yanchen said coldly, "I hope you don't regret it." My pupils suddenly dilated. How could Lu Yanchen say such a thing? Did he know something too? Lu Xiang also felt that there was something behind his words, and when he was about to say something, Shinji had already pushed the person away. Su Ningen took his arm and said, "Brother, the auction has started, please take a seat." I kept searching the scene for the killer. Finally I found it. He was like a snake, insect, rat or ant that could not stand the light, hiding in a dark corner and staring at Lu Xiang in a morbid and sinister manner. I thought about it for a long time but couldn't figure out where I had seen these eyes before. Who is he? Why are you here after killing me? The most important thing is, if I die, where will my body be? I observed him and Su Ningen, but didn't notice any eye contact between Su Ningen and him. Isn't he the killer bought by Su Ningen? 3 million. It was Lu Xian's voice. He thought it was Su Ningen's painting, so he used this way to express his love. Seeing him bidding, Su Ningen followed him shyly. This attracted the envy of people around, who said that the brother and sister had a very good relationship. I just find those words of praise ridiculous. If people knew what those two did under the guise of the forbidden brother and sister relationship, what would everyone's expressions be? 5 million. A cold voice in the field caught my attention. I turned around and saw that the person who spoke was Lu Yanchen. Why does he take pictures? The air was filled with the silent smell of gunpowder. In Lu Xian's opinion, Lu Yanchen was not just trying to steal the painting. 8 million. Lu Xiang raised the price again. Lu Yanchen held up the sign and said calmly, 80 million. Wow. Everyone in the audience gasped. Is he crazy? He spent 80 million on this painting. Lu Xiang was also dumbfounded. As he looked in disbelief, the next two paintings went into Lu Yanshen's pocket at sky-high prices. Before Lu Yanshen left, I saw Lu Xiang quickly chasing after him. He leaned on the car door with both hands, his face very unpleasant. "Uncle, you spent more than 200 million to buy 3 paintings. If Grandpa knew." Lu Yanshen raised his eyelids and glanced at him indifferently, with only contempt in his eyes. "You think I'm a piece of trash?" Lu Xiang had not yet completely taken over the Lu family, and the fact that he could not come up with the money was easily slapped in the face by Lu Yanshen. "Uncle, do you have any misunderstandings about me?" Lu Yanshen looked at him deeply, his eyes full of hatred. "Lu Xiang, I won't give in this time." Chapter 13 Finally found my body. What did Lu Yanshen give in? I was confused and felt that Lu Xian's face was getting worse and worse. Not far away, Su Ningen was surrounded by the Su family, her face full of pride. Her mother kept praising her, and it is really amazing. Just a few paintings were sold for hundreds of millions. Unlike that damn girl Su Wan, when she was young, her teacher said she was talented, but I haven't seen her produce any works. She is really not even as good as one of your fingers. The elder brother at the side also spoke up. "By the way, has Su Wan contacted you? Her phone number is unreachable. This girl has become more and more ignorant recently. She only knows how to make her family worry. I heard she went to Cloud City. Mom and Dad, I told you not to spoil her so much. She caused so much trouble and flew away without saying a word. She is so willful and reckless. Mom, Dad, and brother, don't be angry. My sister probably just wants to relax. When she comes back this time, I will make her kneel down and apologize to you. I think she'll learn her lesson if she's given a good beating." When I saw Su Ningen's hypocritical face, I wanted to tear off her hypocritical mask on the spot. Everyone just fell for her approach. Not only did they not doubt her at all, they even obeyed her every word. I can tolerate my lover's infidelity, but I cannot tolerate my family's cold words to me. It is clear that I was born from my mother's womb after 10 months of pregnancy. How could she be so cruel to me? I love painting so much. That day was my sister's birthday. My mother suddenly got angry, rushed into my studio, splashed paint on my work, and tore up the painting with her own hands. She said that Su Ningen was dead. How could a heartless person like me paint with a clear conscience? I was just a heartless and ungrateful little beast. It turned out that she had hated me as early as that time, and felt that it was me who should disappear, not Su Ningen. It was clearly Su Ningen and Lu Xiang who caused this incident, and they blamed me for everything without any basis in reason. After I died, they didn't rush to find me, but instead planned to beat me up. I touched my face. I didn't have a single tear. Why did I still feel so uncomfortable? I don't know when heavy snow started falling from the sky, and the white snowflakes fluttered down, just like the scene I saw before I died. When will they realize I'm dead? Soon what happened in the gallery was exposed, and Su Ningen and I both became top trending searches. Fighting against fake Su Wan the genius painter is actually the daughter of a wealthy family Su Wan is disgusting sky high priced paintings Miss Su Wu is kind hearted and donated 300 million yuan The public's evaluation was even more one-sided. I stood behind Lu Xiang and saw that he kept flipping through his phone with his fingers. The more he looked down, the deeper his frown became. Su Ningen took his arm and said, "Brother, I didn't know things would turn out like this. Otherwise, I would have asked someone to suppress the trending search." Pressure? Why should we press? The person who spoke was my biological mother. She had gorgeous makeup on and wore extremely luxurious clothes, but the words she spoke were extremely cold. The netizens are not wrong. It was Su Wan who took the credit in the first place. She deserves to be exposed now. If she had known this would happen, why did she do it in the first place? Everyone is praising Auranen for her beauty and kindness. What's wrong with using a free trending search to promote Auranen? When she said this, she took Su Ningen's hand and said, "Auranen will become an internationally renowned painter and a figure whose name will go down in history." Mom is right. Su Wan deserves it. The more miserable she is, the more perfect Auranen is. The more controversial she is, the more popular she will be. More people will know Auranen, and Auranen will be more popular in the future. My reputation has been damaged even after my death, but my family still wants to squeeze out the last bit of my value and make me pave the way for Sunningen. When I was painting, my mother would say that I was not doing my job properly, was too selfish, did not care about the future of the Sue family, and wasted time every day on such useless things. But at this moment, her face was full of pride, and she kept praising Sunningen for his promising future, and she was even willing to step on my corpse to get to the top. It turned out that she didn't hate painting, she just simply liked Sunningen, and no matter what Sunningen did, she thought it was right. I have survived betrayal by a loved one, but I still feel the pain of being betrayed by my family. Sunningen tilted his head to look at Lu Xiang. Brother Xiang, what do you think? Should we remove the trending search? After all, my sister is your wife. If she sees the trending search in Yuncheng, she will definitely be very sad. Originally, Lu Xiang was a little unhappy, but when he thought of me going to Yuncheng without saying a word, his black pupils flashed with cold light. Sad? I think she has it all her own fault. Keep her. If she feels ashamed, she can come back soon. Lu Xiang spoke coldly, without any intention of defending me. We have been childhood sweethearts for so many years, but in the end we have to bear all the consequences. It is clear that both the Sue and Lu families have the ability to suppress the hot search. For the sake of Sunningen, they are willing to sacrifice my reputation. Is this family? I curled up in the corner listening to their cold words and watching their family having fun. It turned out that I was the one who should disappear. I don't know how long it was, but when I looked up again, I found that the scenery in front of me had changed. Lu Xiang and the Sue family disappeared, and I was in a place that looked like a basement. It's dark and damp here. Where is this? I've never been to this place before. I looked around. I was now standing in a long corridor. The stone walls around me had been weathered by the years and had cracks in many places. The candlelight cast a faint light, which fell on me, but there was no shadow on the wall. There was no one around and it was eerily quiet. There seemed to be a stone chamber at the end of the road, and I walked forward quickly. From a distance, I saw a stone bed, and there seemed to be a woman lying on it. Who would lie in a place like this? I don't know why, but the closer I get to him, the faster my heart beats. Until my vision gradually cleared, I could finally see her clearly. The woman who had already lost her breath, lying there with her belly flat on her face and her eyes tightly closed, was me. Chapter 14. He wants to peel my skin off. I stood by the bed and stared at the body in front of me. There was no sign of decay and no signs of livor mortis. His face was a little pale and he looked like a sick person. If the chest hadn't stopped moving, I would have thought the body was just sleeping. I have never seen my own body and I still have a glimmer of hope. Maybe I was just seriously injured or became a vegetable, but in any case, I still have a breath left. If Lu Xiang had found me in time, he might have been able to save my life. It wasn't until I personally identified the body that I completely gave up. It turns out that I am really dead. I sat beside my own corpse and looked down at my palms. Where should I go from now on? Am I supposed to live in this state forever? I have no sense of taste or smell, and even if I want to cry I can't shed a single tear. Is this the world after death? No one can hear my voice, I can see everyone, but no one can see me. I hid my face and wept without tears. Just then, I heard footsteps, very fast, and there was more than one person. The person who came in had the same familiar eyes as mine, but his face was covered by another layer of mask, making it impossible to see his true appearance clearly. Behind him was a tall man with dark skin and wearing Tibetan clothes. That's her. The man pointed at my body. The Tibetan man suddenly lifted the white cloth that was draped over me. My body was naked underneath the cloth and I could clearly see the wounds on my waist and abdomen. There is a layer of transparent oil on the fair skin, which should be some kind of medicine that prevents the formation of corpse spots. Tibetan man. A bad thought arose in my mind. The dark-skinned man looked me up and down, and from time to time he put his hands on my body, as if to check the elasticity of my skin. That looked more like he was examining the goods. He pointed at the wound on my waist and abdomen and said in a local accent, "It's a pity there is a scar here, otherwise it could be peeled off completely." Peel it off. Is that what I understood? He wants to peel my skin off? How is that possible? This is a society ruled by law. But the serious looks in their eyes made me doubt that they were joking. Seeing the man ready the tool and getting closer to my body, I screamed at the top of my lungs, "No! Get out of here, Suddenly, everything went dark, and when I came to my senses, the scenery in front of me had become familiar to me. This is the Liu family. I sat on the ground limply, my mind full of the Tibetan man who had just happened. Kneel down. The old yet majestic voice irritated my nerves, and I came back to my senses. It's Mr. Liu. I haven't seen him for a long time. After the old lady passed away a few years ago, his physical and mental condition were much worse than before. He was sometimes lucid and sometimes confused. To prevent him from running away and losing his way home, he has been recuperating in a sanatorium in recent years. The last time I saw him, his IQ was that of a child of a few years old. His expression is solemn now, and it is obvious that he has regained his sanity. I ran to him anxiously and shouted, "Grandpa Liu, save me, I beg you to save me, don't let them skin me alive." But in the huge living room, the only sound was Mr. Liu's powerful roar. The Liu and Su families are getting married, but you left Su Wan at the wedding. I don't care whether her sister lives or dies. How can I trust you to leave the Liu family to you when you do such a stupid thing? Back then, Liu's father insisted on being with Bailan and was not satisfied with the old man's choice of Mrs. Liu, which made the old man extremely disappointed in him. Since he was a child, the old man has placed all his hopes on Liu Xiang. How could the old man let Liu Xiang off easily when he acted like this? Liu Xiang knelt down, not daring to argue a word with the old man. Family rules. The so-called family law is just a whip, and Mr. Liu is serious about it. I have told you since you were little that the head of the Liu family must not act recklessly, but must be strict with himself and restrain himself. Have you forgotten my words? Father Liu was often beaten by Grandpa Liu when he was a child. He knew how powerful their whip was. After all, he was his own son, so he quickly pleaded, "Dad, Xiang is just worried about his sister. Although his behavior is wrong, it is understandable." Mr. Liu was indignant. The Liu family motto is to clearly distinguish between rewards and punishments. Like father, like son. Get out of here. If you stop me, I'll beat you too. Take off your shirt. The old man ordered coldly. Liu Xiang had no choice but to do as he was told. There were still marks on his back from Su Ningen that night. After the baptism of time, the scar is very light and will not arouse suspicion. The old man showed no mercy and whipped him hard, causing his skin to be torn into pieces immediately. Su Ningen rushed over and said, "Grandpa, this is all my fault. If you want to punish me, just punish me. I shouldn't have called my brother." After Mrs. Liu died, Liu's father insisted on marrying Bailan, and the relationship between them broke down. Liu's father disliked Bailan the most, so how could he like Su Ningen? "Just so you know, she's exactly like your adoptive mother, a slut who seduces men." The old man raised his hand and was about to hit Su Ningen, but Liu Xiang quickly protected Su Ningen under him. Another whip hit Liu Xiang hard. Par, par, par. There was the sound of applause from behind. Shenji pushed Liu Yanchen over, and Liu Yanchen said sarcastically, "Xiang cares so much about Miss Su Wu, those who know her think she is your stepsister, and those who don't know her think she is your wife." As soon as these words were spoken, the faces of the people present changed drastically. Especially Liu Xiang felt a panic in his heart, as if Liu Yanchen's eyes had seen through everything. Bailan, who was indifferent when Liu Xiang was beaten, jumped out at this moment. "Uncle, you can eat whatever you want, but you can't say whatever you want. And is waiting to get married. If this word gets out, what will others think of her? The most important thing for a woman is her reputation." "Oh, so you know that the most important thing for a woman is her reputation." Liu Yanchen's words were obviously meant to imply something, and his eyes were full of sarcasm, which made Liu Xiang feel uneasy. Bailan knelt in front of the old man. "It's all because of my wife's poor parenting. And just relies too much on her brother. If Dad wants to blame or beat me, just come at me. Let the two children go." The old man was already furious. "How can you have the right to speak? I don't acknowledge your identity. You are not worthy of being Mrs. Liu. Grandpa, now that things have come to this, I am responsible for my own actions. It has nothing to do with Aunt Lan and Anan. If you want to punish me, punish me." Liu Yanchen on the side sneered, "He is really kind and tolerant. He can even live in peace with the woman who killed his own mother. No wonder he was so bewitched that he even forgot his last name. Didn't my uncle say that he would never return to the Liu family? Why are you contradicting yourself today?" Lu Yanchen glanced at him indifferently. Lu Xiang was kneeling while he was sitting. Although he has difficulty walking, he is still very dignified and his demeanor is superior to Lu Xiang. I changed my mind. Lu Yanchen tapped his slender fingers on the armrest of the wheelchair and said nonchalantly, rather than letting the Lu family fall into the hands of a loser like you, it's better to hand it over to me. What did you say? For a moment, all the eyes of the Lu family were focused on him. Lu Yanchen slid his wheelchair until it stopped beside Lu Xiang. He looked down at Lu Xiang and said, I regret it, Lu Xiang. Lu Xiang's face changed drastically, and he was visibly panicked. I have a feeling that there is something going on between Lu Yanchen and Lu Xiang that I don't know about. Lu Yanchen's eyes were cold, and he said word by word with his thin lips, since you don't cherish it, from now on, I will take over everything in the Lu family. Chapter 15. Go to Yuncheng to pick up Su Wan. Everyone in the audience was shocked by his words. You know, Lu Yanchen was not close to the Lu family because of his mother's affairs, and he had been abroad for many years. Everyone knew that he resented the old man and hated the Lu family even more. Normally, he didn't want to set foot in the Lu family at all. The Lu family looked down on him as an illegitimate child, and were even more afraid that he would come back to fight for the property, so naturally they would not pay too much attention to him. I don't know why, but this time when he returned to China, he actually proposed to take over the Lu family's affairs. Father Lu looked very unhappy, and he angrily scolded him on the spot, take over. Who do you think you are? It's not your turn to make the decision in the Lu family. It's not up to you to decide whether I can make the decision or not. From today on, I will live in the Lu family. He looked at the old man and said, Father, what do you think? I used to think that Mr. Lu regarded him as a stain on himself and didn't like this illegitimate child. But when Lu Yanchen called him father, I clearly saw that Mr. Lu's eyes were wet. How does this look like a father who doesn't love his children? Butler, prepare a room for the young master. He waved his hand and the butler went to do it immediately, fearing that Lu Yanchen would go back on his word. Father Lu was obviously dissatisfied with his decision and immediately denied it. Father, this is not appropriate. Shut up, he's your brother, what's wrong with that? He's doing well abroad without me, and look at what stupid things this evil creature of yours has done. It would have been fine if Lu Xiang wasn't mentioned, but as soon as Lu Xiang was mentioned, the old man flew into a rage on the spot. By the way, I just saw those rumors online, saying that Wan girl is a liar and a fake, and the insults are more nasty than the last. Do you let people insult your wife like that? Grandpa, Su Wan acted recklessly and ran to Yuncheng without saying a word. I want to teach her a lesson. You still have the nerve to say that she is willful. If you, a bastard, hadn't run away from marriage, would she have gone to Yuncheng? It seems that you really forgot that the Lu family's capital chain was broken that year. If she hadn't begged old Su to help, how could my Lu family have easily survived the crisis? The old man whipped him a few more times and said, You are such an ungrateful avildor, I will beat you to death. Dad, if you beat him up, how can he go to Yuncheng to pick someone up? Father Lu quickly begged for mercy. Besides, Wan cares about him the most. Wouldn't she be heartbroken to see him injured? The old man then dropped the whip and said, You bastard, bring my granddaughter-in-law back to me right away. After leaving these words, he took Lu Yanchen away, not wanting to look at Lu Xiang again. You've done well abroad. It would be great if you're interested in returning to China. Lu Yanchen replied indifferently, Yeah. There were only a few people left in the living room, and Bai Lan was only concerned with helping Su Ningen up and checking if she was injured. Lu Xiang didn't know what he was thinking, he lowered his head and looked very unhappy. Father Lu helped him up, looked at his torn back with heartache and said, The old man was too harsh. Housekeeper, call the family doctor quickly. Yes. Lu Xiang applied the medicine and lay on the bed, and I was anxiously running around beside him. Those people were about to peel off my skin, and it seemed that they were planning to leave me with no intact body. I don't know if this is the reason why I can't disappear. I really hope someone can find my body as soon as possible and let me rest in peace. But Lu Xiang, when did you find out that I was dead? Father Lu kept scolding, Wan girl is a good girl. She has been devoted to you all these years. It didn't matter before, but you are married now. No matter how you feel about Anan, stay away from her and live a good life with Wan girl. Lu Xiang suddenly looked up at him, Dad, why do you miss me and Anan so much? She is just my sister. Father Lu had a look on his face that showed he had seen through everything. Tell me yourself, have you still had eyes for Wan in the past 2 years? Every time Su Ningen called you, you rushed over without caring about anything, and even forgot about something as important as marriage. That's because Anan is in poor health and his life is in danger at any time. You know very well what her illness is like. Even if it really attacks and kills her, it will only take a moment. You won't be able to make it in time if you rush over. Besides, she has said so many times that she is really going to die. But this trick has always worked. If you didn't care about her, why would you abandon Wan girl? Anyone can see such an obvious truth, and Lu Xian's face was full of embarrassment. So you all think I treat Anan better than Su Wan? Isn't it? Father Lu didn't want to argue with him too much. You and Wan girl have been childhood sweethearts. After all, you will get tired of each other after being together for many years. I understand that you want to seek excitement. As long as you pay attention to the limits and manage your marriage well in the future, having a child with her sooner can be regarded as making up for your mistakes. Father Lu patted his shoulder and said, bring her back from Yuncheng as soon as possible. A harmonious family is the foundation of everything. Besides, you have seen that Lu Yanchen has come back to fight with you for the property. You know that the old man likes Wan, but you angered him at this critical moment. Do you want to hand over the Lu family to someone else? Think about it carefully. Father Lu's words reminded Lu Xiang, and he quickly called his assistant. Book me a flight to Yuncheng tomorrow morning. Okay, Mr. Lu. Also, remove all the hot searches about Su Wan. The assistant asked one more question. If the madam's search is withdrawn, then Miss Ningen's search will also be withdrawn. Even the assistant was like this. Lu Xiang yelled angrily for no reason, do you think Su Ningen's reputation is more important than my wife? No, I just. The assistant was shocked. After all, in the past, whenever there was something concerning the two of them, Lu Xiang would always side with Su Ningen. If you do that again, I'll just pack up and leave. Lu Xiang hung up the phone. He was a little absent-minded, as if he was reflecting, was he really that bad to me? Thinking of this, he dialed my number again, but it was still turned off. The guilt in his eyes just now flashed away, and I heard him curse under his breath, with such a bad temper, he is not even as good as Anan. If I had heard this in the past, I might have felt sad, but after experiencing these things, I have become numb. I just hope he can hurry to Yuncheng and find out the truth that I'm dead sooner. The phone rang again. It was the assistant who called. With the lesson learned, the assistant spoke cautiously, Mr. Lu, I'm ready for the trip to Yuncheng, but the hot search has been taken down. Down? Who did it? I asked, and it was someone from the Lu family who did it. They withdrew everything in such a short time, leaving no trace on the entire platform. It is said that they spent 50 million on public relations. Who else but the old man could be so generous? Lu Xian's heart sank. Besides Mr. Lu, there was another person. Could it be him? Chapter 16 Su Wan, you're back. It's late at night and everything is quiet. Su Wan. Lu Xiang woke up from his dream calling my name. It seemed that he had a nightmare. He covered his heart with his right hand and gasped heavily. I saw beads of sweat on his forehead and his chest heaving. Then he fumbled for the phone on the bedside table and dialed my number again, but it was still turned off. He opened our chat history and the last message was the voice message in which he threatened me. Lu Xiang then realized that I might be really angry. After all, I have never left without saying goodbye for more than 3 days. He muttered under his breath, women are trouble. Then he called his assistant and said, go to the jewelry store early in the morning and by the heart of the ocean. Also, prepare a bouquet of yellow roses. The flower language of yellow roses is apology. In his eyes, my disappearance was just a temper tantrum like before, and he could just coax me or snap his fingers and I would come back. He lay on his side, unable to fall asleep. He closed his eyes in pain and called out subconsciously, Su Wan, bring me my stomach medicine. The room was empty and no one responded. I looked up and saw Lu Xiang holding his stomach with a look of pain on his face. He had a bad stomach, and I spent several years treating him. I always had stomach medicine and painkillers ready in case of emergency. I have been treating him less well than before since I had a miscarriage, and with Su Ningen's deliberate seduction, he has been with Su Ningen most of the time in the past 3 months. Without my good care, his stomach problems recurred. Lu Xiang curled up in pain on the bed. I stood aside and watched coldly. Lu Xiang, no one will ever deliver medicine to you again. He opened the drawer with trembling hands. I put the stomach medicine in the place where he can reach it most easily, so he can find it immediately even if he has an attack late at night. He opened the drawer and before he knew it, it was filled with knickknacks. They were all given to him by Su Ningen, and the bottle of stomach medicine was buried at the bottom. Lu Xiang knelt on the ground and searched frantically. He finally found the stomach medicine, but discovered that the medicine had expired for a month. Only then did he realize that our relationship had been in jeopardy during the period before our marriage. He clearly wanted to marry me, but except for working hours, he spent 80% of his time with Su Ningen. When the pain was at its worst, I wondered if he was thinking of my good points, and his eyes became slightly moist. Su Wan. Suddenly his eyes were fixed on me, as if he had noticed my existence. He endured the pain and staggered towards me. His face was pale, but at this moment, a hint of joy appeared on the corner of his mouth. You are finally back. Boom! Lu Xiang fell headfirst at my feet and fainted from the pain. In the past I would have been nervous, but now I just look at him coldly. I'm just a dead man, what else can I do? I no longer felt heartbroken, but stood by the window and watched the snowflakes dancing under the street lights. Now that I can't even protect my own body, what else can I protect? Besides, even if Lu Xiang died, he deserved it. At dawn, the assistant couldn't get in touch with the person and went to Lu's house and found the person lying on the ground. Mr. Lu, what's wrong with you? He tried to wake up Lu Xiang. Wan. Lu Xiang suddenly opened his eyes, grabbed his assistant's hand tightly, and called my name. Mr. Lu, are you okay? Why are you sleeping on the floor? Lu Xiang was stunned for a moment before he reacted. His face turned pale. Where is Su Wan? Isn't Madam still in Yuncheng? What's wrong with you? Lu Xiang murmured with a confused look on his face. It turned out to be just a dream. You must be thinking about something during the day and dreaming about it at night. You miss your wife too much. I have prepared flowers and gifts and we are ready to go at any time. But you don't look well. Do you want to go to the hospital first? Lu Xiang looked as if he wanted to say something but was hesitant to do so. No one knew what he dreamed about last night. No need, just go to the airport and prepare my clothes. Lu Xiang went to the bathroom with a gloomy face, and his assistant picked out a beige suit for him and was waiting at the door. He came out after a simple wash, and just as he was about to take the suit, he paused and said, "Change into another suit." Lu Xiang frowned and said unhappily, "Forget it, I'll find it myself." He opened the closet in a state of frustration, and all he saw were various light-colored suits. Lu Xiang then realized that he hadn't worn dark clothes for a long time, and I hadn't bought him any clothes for a year. Not to mention the dressing room, the entire master bedroom was filled with everything related to Su Ningen. On the contrary, I have long since drifted away from him. Lu Xiang opened all the wardrobes in succession and finally found the long dusty black suit in the last wardrobe. The suit was wrapped in a laundry bag, neatly ironed, and without a speck of dust. This suit was the one he wore when we got engaged. At that time, his eyes were full of me and he was so nervous that he didn't even tie his tie properly. I was wearing a white dress and I raised my hands to fix it for him. Our eyes met, full of tenderness. I curled my lips and smiled. Brother Xiang is so handsome in a suit that I want to break the rules. I stood on tiptoes and kissed him gently on the lips. At the age of 18, love is like the spring breeze and drizzle, all beautiful. Lu Xiang chose this suit, probably because he wanted to reconcile with me. Looking at the person in the mirror, the tension and immaturity on his face are no longer there. He now looks mature and steady, but gloomy. Feelings are like time, how can we go back to the past? Let's go to the airport. It's still early, why don't you have breakfast first, Mr. Lu? Madam said you have stomach problems, so you have to eat 3 meals a day on time. Lu Xiang paused as he tried to open the door. The assistant thought he was going to accuse her of nagging again, so she carefully explained, "If you're not hungry, it's okay if you don't want to eat. There are meals on the plane anyway. No, just eat at home and have someone prepare a simple meal." Lu Xiang finished his meal absent-mindedly and stood up. "Prepare the car, let's go to the airport." He seemed a little panicked, even though it was still early for takeoff. When he was about to leave, a servant's voice came from upstairs. "Master, something bad has happened." The young lady has fainted. The person who was about to leave passed by me like the wind. In just a moment, he had already gone upstairs and quickly got into the car in his arms, holding Su Ningen. The assistant asked cautiously, "Are we going to the airport?" "To the hospital." This result surprised no one, because in the past 2 years, whenever something happened to Su Ningen and me at the same time, he would always choose Su Ningen regardless of the consequences. This time was no exception, but I was numb and didn't feel any pain at all. I stood by the car and looked up at the second floor. There were 2 people, one sitting and one standing on the terrace. Jiu Yanchen, sitting in a wheelchair, watched all this indifferently, his thin lips curled up in a mocking arc. Chapter 17. I didn't go to Cloud City at all. Su Ningen was sent to the emergency room, and Lu Xiang stood outside the door waiting for the results, his face full of worry. The assistant reminded carefully, "Boss Lu, I have already notified the Su family to come over. Are we going to the airport now? If we are late, we will miss the plane." Cloud City is a remote plateau town, and there is only one flight from Night City to Cloud City every day. The weather in Yuncheng is bad during this period, and flights are often cancelled, so the assistant will kindly remind us. Lu Xiang frowned and angrily shouted, "Don't you have a brain? Su Wan is fine and is living freely in Yuncheng. She won't die, but Anan's life is in danger at any time. How can I leave her at this time?" The assistant thought that Lu Xiang called me in the early morning and asked me to buy flowers and gifts again, and he was going to apologize to me. "Last night you said that I was more important than Su Ningen, but today you slapped your face so quickly." I saw the assistant's eyes darken, probably because he felt it was not worth it for me. After all, he was a witness to how Lu Xiang and I went from being in love to what we are now. In fact, he probably hopes that Lu Xiang and I can reconcile. He lowered his head to hide the disappointment in his eyes. "I will go to process the refund now." When the Su family arrived, Su Ningen was pushed out. The doctor held the treatment results and called out, "Family members of the patient." Lu Xiang quickly stepped forward and said, "How is Anan?" The doctor glanced at his anxious face and said, "She's out of danger." "How did you take care of the patient? You knew she had heart problems, but you still deliberately stimulated her. If she hadn't been treated in time, she could have died suddenly at any time." Exciting. The Su family looked at Lu Xiang, and returned to the Lu family yesterday. What stimulated her? Lu Xiang was also confused. "Mom, don't worry, I will definitely find out. Anyway, as long as Anan is okay, it's good." In the ward, their whole family surrounded Su Ningen, as if she was a fragile porcelain doll, and everyone's eyes were filled with heartache. It reminded me of the time when I hadn't left the Su family yet. The epidemic happened and my eldest brother was locked in the company. I volunteered to go in and take care of him, but after I tested positive, my whole family quickly moved out of the villa for fear of being infected by me. From that moment on, I knew that the discord between me and my family because of Su Ningen could never be repaired. In their eyes, I am not worth mentioning. Every time Su Ningen had a little problem, they would mobilize a lot of people to stay by her side, and I felt a little jealous watching from the side. The servant who usually took care of Su Ningen appeared, and Lu Xiang asked her with a gloomy face, "Everything was fine, why isn't Anan upset again?" Miss Anan seemed to be stimulated while looking at her phone. I glanced at it and saw nothing but insulting words about her. Insults? Who did it? I don't know about that. Miss Anan's phone hasn't stopped ringing since last night. I suspect someone has leaked her phone number. Lu Xiang took Su Ningen's phone, turned it on, and easily cracked the password. I opened the call records and found that I had been receiving harassing calls all night long, from IP addresses all over the country. There were also countless text messages coming in, with all kinds of dirty words in them. The general meaning is that she seduced someone else's husband and made him run away at the wedding, which is shameless. As soon as he turned on the phone, another call came in. Lu Xiang answered it. The other party's voice sounded like a middle-aged woman. "You shameless little whore, you seduced someone else's husband, you will definitely die a miserable death. After all, everyone in the house is of noble birth. How could they have ever heard such vulgar talk?" Lu Xiang turned off the phone without saying a word, which made him lose face by arguing with a shrew. How could my poor daughter have to suffer such a thing? Who did it? My mother looked at the unconscious person, her eyes full of heartache. Lu Xiang's eyes were gloomy and he insisted, "It was Su Wan, she must have done it." My family and husband hastily convicted me without even checking. As Sunningen has instigated countless times in the past few years, I am a heinous person and everything I do is wrong. A faint voice came from the bed. Mom, Dad, brother, don't blame my sister. It was me who made that phone call and ruined her wedding. If she wants to blame someone, just blame me. Sunningen's face turned pale and he confessed in tears on the hospital bed. This trick always works no matter how many times she uses it, making her family members love her even more. Sunningen pulled Lucien's sleeve. Brother, aren't you going to pick up sister today? Go quickly, I'm fine. When we get to Yuncheng, please help me apologize to sister. I am sorry for her. I will go abroad when she comes back and will never appear in front of her again. How can you go abroad when you are in such poor health? That's right, don't worry about that damn girl Scumbag. I've never seen anyone as petty as her. There should be a limit to how much temper she throws. You just called Shi Yang because the situation was critical, and she left without saying a word. Now she's even more angry. It's really hateful. Lu Shiyang changed his mind. I won't go to Yuncheng to pick her up. Your grandma's birthday is in a few days, she will come back naturally. Looking at the heavy snow outside, I had only one thought in my mind: I can't come to my grandma's birthday party. At that time, will you find out that I didn't go to Yuncheng at all? The fact that I was dead. Chapter 18. I dreamed that Scumbag was dead. Grandma is the only person in the family who doesn't hate me because of Sunningen's acting. It's a pity that her health kept getting worse and worse, and she was bedridden half a year ago. She saw my grievances. When I visited her a week before their wedding, my grandmother touched my head and said gently, "My dear granddaughter, if you don't want to get married, then don't get married. If he is not a good man, you will only suffer if you marry him." At that time, all I wanted was to reveal the truth and take revenge at the wedding, so I rejected my grandmother's suggestion. Don't worry, Grandma. I know what I'm doing. You need to get better soon. My child, Grandma will definitely make it to your birthday. I know you have suffered a lot since Sunningen came home. You will always be my baby to Grandma. On that day, Grandma will give you a big gift. My grandmother owned 5% of the company's shares. When Sunningen came back, her family proposed to give her the shares as compensation, but her proposal was rejected. I know that my grandmother kept the shares so that I would not be left with nothing in the future. It's a pity that my grandma planned for so long, but in the end, she had to send off the young one before her, and she couldn't live to see the day when she gave birth to me. Lu Shiyang quickly dealt with the harassing phone calls and messages, and his disgust for me deepened. In order to take care of Sunningen, he personally went to the kitchen to make soup, blew the soup cold, and fed it to Sunningen spoonful by spoonful. He was so meticulous as to be able to think of me. Because I know that if that Tibetan man really wants to do something to me, this period of time will be enough to leave no trace of my body. I'm just a little curious, what expressions will they have when they find out about my death? Will you feel a little regret for being so cruel to me today? Lu Shiyang was afraid that Sunningen would be upset again, so he stayed to accompany her tonight. In the middle of the night he woke up again from a nightmare. Brother, are you having a nightmare? Perhaps he got up so fast that he woke up the person on the bed, Sunningen asked hurriedly. Lu Shiyang reached out to wipe the cold sweat from his head, his face pale. I'm fine. Sunningen walked towards him. What dream scared you like this? I dreamed that Scumbag was dead. She was bleeding a lot in the dream and she kept begging me to save her. Sunningen patted his back and said, "Don't be afraid, brother. Dreams are the opposite of what they actually are. This means that sister is living a happy and healthy life now." Lu Shiyang rubbed his temples tiredly. I've had this dream for several nights in a row. It must be because you are too worried about my sister. If you are so worried, why don't you bring my sister back as soon as possible? That way I can feel at ease too. Lu Xian's eyes were obviously shaken. Then, I hope my sister can calm down soon after she comes back and stop being mad at me. I was lucky this time, but I won't be this lucky every time. After hearing this, Lu Xian gave up the idea and rubbed her head. Forget it, let's not answer it. It's the same if she calms down in Yuncheng. The next morning, the Su family came to pick up Su Ningen from the hospital. I noticed that my parents looked very haggard, as if they had not slept well. They were probably worried about Su Ningen's condition. Mom and Dad, did you not sleep well? My mother rubbed her forehead and said, It must be because that damn girl Sue Wan has caused so many problems recently that I keep having nightmares. You also dreamed of Sue Wan? My father looked at my mother with a surprised look on his face. Even Lu Xiang, who was about to go to work, stopped. Yeah, that damn girl was pretending to be dead before. I dreamed that she was really dead. If a person has this kind of dream, it is a coincidence, but if they have these dreams at the same time, it would seem a bit weird. Su Ningen suddenly said, "Could it be that my sister?" Lu Xiang interrupted her abruptly, "Impossible. How could Su Wan die?" "Brother, you misunderstood. I meant to say that there are so many places for my sister to go. Why did she choose to go to Yuncheng where cults are everywhere? I often heard that some cult members on the border would use evil methods to harm people. You have all been uneasy recently, and my life was hanging by a thread yesterday. Could it be that my sister?" My mother slammed the table and said, "No wonder I can't sleep every night. Did this damn girl curse us with some evil magic?" My dad quickly tried to calm my mom down. He was a soft-hearted person and usually mom made all the decisions at home. He rarely spoke to defend me. We are family after all. What good will it do to her if she harms us? Besides, that's all feudal superstition and can't be taken seriously. Several people picked up Su Ningen from the hospital. Before leaving, they could still hear Su Ningen's tea-scented voice, "Mom, I'm just talking casually, don't take it seriously. When that damn girl comes back, I will definitely ask her about it." I followed Lu Xiang and saw that he had a sad face and was in a trance the whole day. The situation did not get better, but worse, and he would wake up from his dreams in a sweat every night. I still couldn't get through to him on the phone. He wanted to fly to Yuncheng, but either the flight was cancelled due to weather reasons or there were no tickets available. As his grandmother's birthday drew closer, he gave up the idea. He was as certain as the Su family that I would come back for Grandma's birthday. But I can't come back. Chapter 19 Human Skin Book. Grandma's health is not good, so the Su family prepares a big birthday party to bless her. Lu Xiang took Su Ningen to the auction, intending to buy an old item with good meaning as a gift to the old lady. Su Ningen leaned against Lu Xian's side and whispered, "I heard that Linglongsai has received a lot of good stuff." Lu Xiang hadn't slept well these past few days, his brows looked a little tired, and his eyes looked lifeless. "Well, I'll buy you whatever you like. Brother, you are so nice." As Su Ningen spoke, she tried to get into Lu Xian's arms again. Lu Xiang reached out and grabbed her arm, with a warning look in his eyes. "What are you afraid of? It's dark here and no one will see you," Su Ningen said in a low voice. Lu Xiang still emphasized, "Enough is enough. Brother." Su Ningen rubbed his arm impatiently. "It's about to start. See if there's anything you like." Lu Xiang made up an excuse to get away with it. I saw it. Someone in the distance took a picture of Lu Xiang and Su Ningen being intimate. Who is it? This is not the first time. In the past few days, I have discovered that someone is following Lu Xiang. Whenever he and Su Ningen were together, the other would take pictures. Without Su Ningen knowing, no less than 100 pictures of him had been taken. Who is it? Is it someone who wants to bring down Lu Xian's rival? No matter who it is, if that person can expose the affair between Lu Xiang and Su Ningen on my behalf, he will be my ally. Linglong Pavilion is an underground auction venue where you can find rare and precious treasures, whether visible or not. I've been here before, but I don't know why I felt a little uneasy today. I soon realized why I was uneasy. The first auction item appeared on the high-definition screen. It was a bracelet of heavyweight treasures 9-eyed Tang Dynasty Z beads. The masked auctioneer at the side raised his hand to introduce that this agarwood bracelet has 2 9-eyed Z beads from the Tang Dynasty, which were consecrated by eminent monks in the past. They can ward off disasters, drive away evil spirits and bring good luck to people. Hearing that it could ward off evil and ward off disasters, Su Ningen hurriedly whispered in Lu Xian's ear, "Brother, haven't you been feeling uneasy lately? How about taking a picture of this bracelet?" Lu Xiang stared at the bracelet. For some reason, there was an inexplicable force deep in his heart that drove him to take a picture of the bracelet. After the auctioneer introduced the bracelet, many wealthy people at the scene were already tempted. In addition to a few people who like skewers, there are also many who come here for its feudal and superstitious nature. The beautiful woman in Cheongsam was holding a tray in her hands. The moment she lifted the black cloth, I was suddenly attracted by a huge force. I didn't know what was waiting for me ahead. I just felt a darkness in front of my eyes and then my body disappeared. When I opened my eyes again, I saw the price sign raised in the dimly lit VIP seats. Even Lu Xiang and Su Ningen were in the audience. What happened? My perspective has changed. I am no longer trapped by Lu Xiang. I looked around and saw a beautiful woman in Cheongsam close to me. Suddenly I realized something. I was actually absorbed into the body of the nine-eyed Tang Zi bead bracelet. The monk performed a ritual. An inexplicable thought arose in my mind. Could it be that my ashes were contained in this string of Zi beads, so my soul would automatically cover them? My body is gone. At this moment I was completely dumbfounded. I heard that someone bought the bracelet for 30 million. It's not entirely made of nine-eyed Tang Zi beads, so the price is not sky high. When I was picked up, I saw a bony hand, followed by Lu Xian's slightly complicated eyes. His fingers running over the beads felt like they were touching my body, and it made me feel really sick. I don't understand why he looks at me like that. The next second, he put it on my wrist and I felt his warm body temperature. It was Lu Xiang who took the photo of me. Is this really God's will? Even if I die, I can't escape him. I stared blankly at the bustling crowd. Was the truth of my death going to be buried in darkness forever? I won't give in. 1 million. Su Ningen's bidding beside me brought my thoughts back to reality. I looked towards the stage and saw Buddhist scriptures printed in Sanskrit on the high-definition screen. It's just that the paper with the Buddhist scriptures printed on it looked a little strange, not quite like paper. Instead, its faint luster looked a bit like human skin. Human skin. I thought about the Tibetan man's words about skinning me. Was he going to make a human skin book from me? With this thought in mind, I pulled myself out of the bracelet and walked towards the book step by step with a trembling body. Sure enough, my soul can enter freely. This is my skin. I cried bitterly, but there was not a single tear in my eyes. I was heartbroken and didn't know who I was against. That man was so cruel that he even didn't want to let go of my corpse. Seeing that Su Ningen liked the book, Lu Xiang raised the price. Because it is human skin, not many people would fight for it even if it was blessed by a high monk. It only cost 2 million to buy this skin book. After Lu Xiang paid, a waiter handed him the human skin book. After my leather was polished and soaked in special potions, the book cover looked as smooth as jade, and the Buddhist scriptures printed in Sanskrit on it looked very sacred. Lu Xiang frowned, obviously a little apprehensive. And then, this book is made of human skin. Even if a monk anoints it, it can't change the raw material. I think it's a bit evil. It's better to send it to a temple for worship. Su Ningen smiled, looking nonchalant. Brother, don't worry, the skin books are usually made from the skins of great monks. With the blessing of Buddha, they will surely prolong the life of the holder and keep him healthy. Grandma will definitely like it. Grandmother? She knew very well that the person who loved me the most was my grandmother, yet she still wanted to give her a human skin book made from my skin. I rushed towards Su Ningen like crazy. Su Ningen, why wasn't you the one who died? But when my hand passed through her face, she didn't feel any pain at all. Instead there was a hint of sneer in her eyes. She really knew that I was dead a long time ago. The auction ended and heavy snow fell from the sky. I stood under the huge sky and roared angrily, "Damn God, you have no eyes. Why do I have to suffer such difficulties in the end even though I have been kind all my life? On the contrary, the evil people are still alive and well. Why can't I turn into a demon and punish those who harmed me? I don't know if it's because I'm too resentful. The cold wind is becoming more biting, roaring and sweeping away everything. It's so cold." Su Ningen snuggled into Lu Xian's arms. Lu Xiang pushed her away fiercely, and then, "This is outside." Su Ningen stamped his feet and said, "Brother, but I'm really cold." Lu Xiang couldn't bear to let her suffer from the cold, so he took off his coat and put it on her, saying patiently, "The driver will be here soon." After sending her to the car, Su Ningen said mischievously, "It's Grandma's birthday tomorrow night, you must come early." "Well, be careful on the road." After seeing off Su Ningen, Lu Xiang got into the car. "Boss Lu, should we go back to the Lu family or?" Lu Xiang rubbed his tired brows with his fingers. "Wedding room, Su Wan should be back." Chapter 20 Marriage Partner. Heavy snow was flying outside the car window, but Lu Xiang had no interest in appreciating it. He looked as if he was troubled. He seemed to be expecting something, but also afraid. He took out his cell phone several times, looked at it, and then turned it off again. It was not until the car drove up to the bridal chamber and he saw the lights come on that he felt relieved and his tense body relaxed. When the car stopped, he couldn't wait to get out and walked quickly towards the gate. I saw him tidy up his clothes, then he slowly opened the door, his face returning to its usual cold look. He called my name while changing his shoes. Suwan, you still remember to come back after making such a fuss for so long. Do you know that these days? The lights in the living room were on, but it was not me who greeted him, but Father Lu. Lu Xiang raised his eyes and met his father's eyes, his face a little stunned. Dad, why are you here? Your uncle is at the old house. I came here to talk to you. Why hasn't Suwan come back yet? Father Lu looked at him with a frown. It was obvious that my disappearance did not attract the attention of any of them. That's right. Lu Xiang and I have been childhood sweethearts since we were young. Even if we have some disputes, I am always the one who takes the initiative to make peace. In their eyes, even running away from marriage is just a minor quarrel. After enough trouble, I came back by myself. Lu Xiang didn't want to lose face, so he made an excuse. Tomorrow is her grandmother's birthday. She can't not come back. She should be at the Su family. Father Lu casually lit a cigarette, and in the smoke he spoke in a light voice. Now that she's back, you should comfort her and let her give your grandfather a grandson soon. Your grandfather has regained his sanity recently and has been very close to that bastard. Hasn't my uncle always disliked my grandfather? Lu Xian's eyes were more vigilant. Father Lu raised his lips in mockery. How can hatred be more important than interests? Your grandfather returned home as soon as he felt better. If not for the family property, what else was he doing? I heard that your grandfather is already preparing a marriage for him. Marriage? Lu Xian's face changed drastically and he walked towards the sofa quickly. Have you decided on the partner? It's either the Jiang family or the Fu family. The Jiang and Fu families are very powerful and are comparable to the Lu family. Although the Su family is considered a wealthy family, it is far inferior to the century-old families. If Lu Xiang and I hadn't been childhood sweethearts, Lu Xian's marriage partner would have been someone from these two families. Lu Yanchen already had his own career abroad, and with the support of a wealthy marriage partner, he was far ahead of Lu Xiang. Lu Xiang gritted his teeth and said, "He is a bastard, how can he be worthy of it?" Father Lu glanced at him and said lightly, "Of course it was not worth it 10 years ago. Do you know how much Lu Yanchen's listed company is valued at now? How many? 100 billion. And this number is still soaring every year." Lu Xiang leaned heavily on the sofa. He knew that his uncle had developed well in recent years, but he didn't expect that he had reached this scale. 100 billion is not much inferior to Lu Group. The Lu family has achieved its current status through the accumulation of wealth and connections by several generations of ancestors, and ranks second in the domestic real estate industry. He, Lu Yanchen, started from scratch and achieved this point in just a dozen years. If he continues like this, it is only a matter of time before he surpasses the Lu family. Once the old man hands over the Lu family to him, his net worth will skyrocket, and he will be ranked among the top 10 in the world, not to mention in China. Why, how could this happen? Lu Xiang looked dazed, and no one knew what he was thinking about, his face full of anxiety. You've done a series of stupid things recently that made the old man angry. The old man already felt that he owed him something. What if he took this opportunity to hand over Lu to him? Lu Xiang interrupted quickly, "No. Grandpa can't hand over the entire Lu family to him. Even if he doesn't, he'll take the lion's share. You, the legitimate eldest grandson, will end up being inferior to an illegitimate child. Wouldn't that make people laugh if it gets out?" Seeing that the atmosphere was almost created, Father Lu poured another bucket of oil on it. "Although he is worth more than you, you have two advantages. First, you are not disabled like him. Second, the old man likes Suwan. If you can give birth to a child soon, the old man will definitely give you the company shares for the sake of the child and Suwan." Father Lu stood up and said, "I don't need to say anything next, right? Treat Suwan well and draw a line between yourself and Su Ningen. Tomorrow is the best opportunity." Lu Xiang sent his father to the door and said, "Dad, I know what to do. I won't make the same mistake again." I sat on the terrace, stretched out my hand to catch the flying snowflakes, watched them slowly pass through my palm, and a sneer appeared at the corner of my mouth. Lu Xiang, it's too late to regret now. How can a dead person give you a chance to forgive? I have accepted my current self. I can neither live nor die. I will just be a bystander to see whether Lu Xiang will get his comeuppance in the future. After Lu's father left, Lu Xiang was worried. It seemed that Lu Yanchen's return posed a great threat to him. He called my number over and over again, and the female voice saying the phone was turned off made him more and more anxious. In the dark night, I heard him murmur, Su Wan, how long are you going to make trouble? To this day he still doesn't take it seriously and thinks it's all my fault. When Lu Xiang was upset, he stroked the beads in his hand over and over again, as if this would calm him down. My soul is placed here, and I have an extra layer of feelings than before. But after seeing him and Su Ningguang making love, every time he touched me made me feel sick. The next day, Lu Xiang specially wore a dark suit, matched with the tie I gave him before, and went to the Su family with a gift for Grandma. The assistant kindly asked, Mr. Lu, has your wife returned? Lu Xian's heart sank, and then he replied coldly, she should have gone back to the Su family's old house. She cares so much about the old lady. Now that the old lady is seriously ill, she must have gone back to visit her in advance. As for not contacting him, it must be because I was still angry with him. The birthday party was scheduled for the evening, but it was still early and there were no other guests in the old house. Su Ningguang had been waiting here since early morning. When he saw him coming, he came to greet him from afar, brother, you are finally here. Seeing him in a black suit, Su Ningguang pouted and said, brother, why are you wearing black again? You look old-fashioned like an old man. I just gave you a new high-end suit last month. Why don't you wear that one? The pattern on that piece of clothing was the same as the one on Su Ningguang, which clearly showed that Su Ningguang wanted to wear couple outfits with him. Thinking of his father's reminder last night, Lu Xiang took her hand away from his arm. Anan, you are not a child anymore, there are differences between men and women, so as to avoid gossip. Su Ningguang didn't know why Lu Xiang suddenly became so cold to her, even though he cared about her so much yesterday. Brother, Okay, I'll go see Grandma first. Lu Xiang rarely paid attention to her emotions and walked quickly, not noticing Su Ningguang's vicious eyes behind him. Lu Xiang walked quickly to the courtyard, grabbed a waiter and asked, is the young lady back? The waiter subconsciously thought he was talking about Su Ningguang, so he nodded and said, the young lady came early in the morning, didn't you see it? Lu Xiang was overjoyed, he knew that Su Wan would not ignore her grandmother just because of her temper, so he walked quickly towards the inner room. Chapter 21 How can there be a mother who doesn't love her children? When I arrived at the old house, my mood was no longer affected by bad men and cheap women. I miss my grandma. If I had known that the week before my wedding would be the last time I would see her, I would have spent more time with her. Nearly half a month has passed. Is Grandma feeling better? Lu Xiang asked his grandmother for permission, and only after getting it did he step over the threshold with a kind smile on his face. Grandma, I'm here to see you. Perhaps because he was afraid that Grandma would think too much, he made an excuse as soon as he entered the door, and before he saw anyone, I was delayed for a while by something, so I asked Wanwan to come over to see you first. Are you feeling better? Without getting a response from Grandma, a bowl of medicine flew directly towards Lu Xiang. Grandma was bedridden and had limited strength, so she didn't hit him, but the medicine bowl broke at his feet. Lu Xiang knew that the old lady was blaming him for running away from his marriage before. He knew he was in the wrong, so he didn't get angry. Instead, he raised his foot and continued to walk towards his grandmother. I also saw my grandmother lying on the hospital bed. She looked even more haggard. The elderly woman tried to prop herself up, and the servant beside her came over to help. Grandma, please slow down. Lu Xiang quickened his pace and came over to help his grandmother, complaining, Wanwan, knowing that you are not in good health, why didn't she stay with you at this time? As soon as he got close, the old lady raised her hand and slapped him hard in the face. Who asked you to touch me? Get out of here. The smile on Lu Xian's face froze for a moment. After all, she was the elder, so he patiently comforted her, Grandma, I know I didn't do well. You can punish me as you wish. Mom, what are you doing? Your grandson-in-law comes to see you with good intentions, why are you hitting him? My mother heard the voice before she even arrived. Grandma shook off Lu Xian's hand and let the servant help her up and lean her against the soft pillow. She pointed at Lu Xian's nose and said fiercely, I don't have a heartless grandson-in-law like him. I really regret it. When the Liu family was short of funds, I shouldn't have listened to Miss Wan and asked the old man to lend them money. I didn't expect that the one I rescued with so much difficulty turned out to be an ungrateful person. You stinky boy, you actually left my granddaughter alone at the wedding. You have such a cruel heart. As Grandma spoke, tears began to flow. My heart, which had been dead because of my lover and family, was revived at this moment. I knelt beside the bed and begged, "Grandma, don't be sad, don't cry, your granddaughter is back." I reached out again and again to wipe away the tears from her eyes, but my fingers kept running across her cheeks. She couldn't hear my voice or see my anxiety. "Mom, you can't blame Shiyang for this. Shiyang did it for Anan. You know Anan is not in good health. It was originally a small matter, but that damn girl Su Wan insisted on making it known to their whole city." My grandmother was already angry, and when she heard my mother say that, she immediately pointed her finger at my mother. "What are you talking about? Your husband ran away from the wedding, but you didn't blame the perpetrator. Instead, you kept blaming the victim. Are you crazy? Ever since Su Ningen came back, this family has been quarreling every other day. It's been a mess. It would have been fine in the past, but now it has come to this point and you are still blaming all the mistakes on Wan girl. Mom, don't be angry. It's Su Wan who is causing trouble. Who doesn't want the family to live in peace? I have watched Wan grow up, how could I not know what kind of person she is? How could she, a little angel who would not even hurt an ant, harm her own sister? Besides, what good would it do to her? Instead, it is you parents who have been deceived by Su Ningen time and time again. Su Ningen came in crying, "Grandma, I know I left the Su family when I was young and couldn't stay with you for a long time to fulfill my filial piety, but you shouldn't slander me just because you favor your sister. I am also your granddaughter, how can you favor one over the other? You vixen, you are the one who has disturbed the peace of the Su family. What has your sister done to you that you even want to mess up her wedding day?" As she said that, Grandma picked up the crutch beside her and hit Su Ningen on the head. "You little bitch, I let you stir up trouble in the Su family and make your sister missing. I will beat you to death." My grandmother had been bedridden for so long that she had no strength at all. Even so, Lu Shiyang still hugged Su Ningen at the first moment, letting the crutch hit his back. Grandma was even more furious. "Well, you two dogs, dare to flirt with each other in front of me. It's obvious that you are even more presumptuous in the Lu family. No wonder you made my granddaughter so angry." I went from being cheerful to being timid and self-deprecating, and I was suspicious all day long. I always feel that there is something wrong with the relationship between Lu Shiyang and Su Ningen. I suffer and heal over and over again, which makes me mentally disordered. I have to rely on drugs to suppress it all year round. I became more and more taciturn, and my grandmother saw the change in me and felt sad. As for the other people in the Su family, their attention is on Su Ningen. No one cares about my feelings and naturally won't notice my changes. Mom, you're going too far. Anan has been raised in the Lu family for so many years, and Shiyang has always treated her as his own sister. If someone hears you say this, what will others think of Anan? Grandma had a look of deep sorrow on her face. You only care about what others think of Su Ningen, but have you ever thought about one's feelings? It's obvious that Lu Shiyang is her husband. Tears slowly dripped down Grandma's wrinkled face. Even if I can't get out of bed because of what happened to the Su family in the past 2 years, it doesn't mean that I'm blind. Open your dog eyes, use your pig brains and think carefully about whether Wan girl is really that kind of person. Her words made everyone present fall into deep thought, as if they were recording everything. Grandma continued, "I heard that she has not appeared since she left on her wedding day, and her whereabouts are still unknown. You are still hanging around this little fox and being fooled. Su Wan is also your child who you carried for 10 months and gave birth to. How can there be such a cold-hearted mother like you in the world who doesn't even love her own child?" A look of astonishment flashed across Lu Xian's face as he held Su Ningen in his arms. "Grandma, what did you say? Su Wan hasn't come home yet." My parents and brothers looked at each other. They probably thought the same thing as I did, thinking that I had returned to the old house early to visit Grandma. She didn't see me just now and thought I might have gone to make pastries for Grandma. After all, every time I came over, I would specially make her favorite plum cake. My mother was surprised, that damn girl Sue Wan is not in the old house. Chapter 22, No Good End, No Descendants. Just when everyone was immersed in the fact that I had not returned to the Sue family yet, Su Ningen beside me suddenly burst into tears. Grandma, you have disliked me since the day I came back. You felt that I stole my sister's attention. No matter what I did, you thought it was deliberate. I am sorry to my sister and the Sue family. I should not have come back. I am an unfilial granddaughter. After saying that, she quickly ran towards the wall. Younger sister. The eldest brother who had just entered the room quickly blocked the wall, and Su Ningen bumped into his stomach. Their whole family gathered around and looked at Su Ningen with worry on their faces, and then, are you okay? How could you be so stupid? Dad, I just don't want Grandma to be unhappy because of me and affect her mood, and I don't want my sister to quarrel with my brother because of me after she comes back. If I knew that the Su family would become like this because of me, I would rather never come back in my life. Su Ningen has a pretty appearance, and every time she sheds tears, she looks pitiful and sympathetic. The people who were angry about me not returning to the Su family immediately turned their guns on Grandma. Even Xiao Yang's father was dissatisfied and said, Mom, Anan and Su Wan are both your granddaughters. How can you be so partial to one and neglect the other? It is Su Wan who is so willful that makes the family worry about her. You don't blame Su Wan, but you beat her up. You are really going too far. Grandma was already very angry. She was scolded by her own son at her old age. She pointed at the father with a trembling finger and said, Are you blind? Su Ningen pulled his father and continued, Dad, don't talk back to Grandma. It was my fault in the first place. If you have a quarrel with Grandma because of me, then I will be a very unfilial person. Grandma, if you want to blame someone, blame me, don't blame Dad. The old lady was so annoyed by her gossip that she finally understood how I felt before. It was obvious that Su Ningen did nothing, but with just a few words he could easily provoke hatred among my family members towards me. Every cut from a soft knife hurts, and in just 2 or 3 years I was covered in bruises. Just shut up. Grandma, today is your birthday. Don't be angry. It's not worth it to ruin your health. Mom, why are you arguing with a little girl at your age? Aunt Zhang, please take good care of my mom and bring her to the dinner later. A group of people surrounded Su Ningen and left. The old lady was so angry that she was about to get up from the ground and pick up her crutches to hit the people. Get out, all of you. Old lady, don't get excited. Aunt Zhang had been with the old lady for decades. She felt very sorry for her and helped her to the bed. She also brought her a cup of ginseng tea to calm her down. I looked at my grandmother reluctantly. Her hair was full of silver and her face was full of wrinkles. Tears welled up in the corners of her eyes. She held Zhang Ma's hand and said, Go and see if our little girl Wan is back. Hey, I'll go check it out right away. Old lady, you just lie down first. If Miss Wan sees you like this, she'll be heartbroken again. Okay, I won't cry. She already has depression, and I can't let her see it. Seeing my grandma frantically wiping away her tears, I wanted to go to her and stay with her even if I couldn't do anything. But Lu Shiyang was wearing the bracelet, so I couldn't stay too far away from him, and could only move farther and farther away from the old man who was sitting on the bed wiping his tears alone. I thought I had completely given up on my family and lover, and there was no one in the world I cared about anymore. Only now do I realize that another person I'm worried about is my grandma. I followed Lu Shiyang and murmured, Grandma, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I can't even imagine how sad my grandma will be when she finds out about my death. Can her body withstand such a blow? After comforting Su Ningen for a few words, the family members left, leaving only Su Ningen and Lu Shiyang. Lu Shiyang's eyes and heart are now filled with Su Ningen, so how could he remember that I was missing? And then, Grandma is old, don't take what she says to heart. Brother, I know, but Grandma hates me so much that I'm afraid she can't accept my gifts. She took out the human skin book and said, Brother, please help me give the book to Grandma. She has always been a vegetarian and chanted Buddhist scriptures. This Buddhist scripture has been blessed by a great monk. It will surely bless Grandma with peace and prosperity and long-lasting blessings. Anan, you are so kind. Grandma will understand your kindness one day. Give it to me. Lu Shiyang took the human skin book. He was originally a little afraid of this kind of thing, but when he took it, his fingers subconsciously stroked the book cover. It felt very smooth, like a woman's skin, which actually made him a little distracted. When he realized his thoughts, Lu Xiang quickly put the idea behind him. It was really weird. By the way, brother, Grandma hates me so much, don't tell her that it was given by me, and don't tell her that it was a human skin book. I'm afraid she won't be able to accept it. I understand. Lu Xiang touched her head and said, don't be so depressed in the future. We are so worried about you. Brother is so nice. The affection between the two was so intense that it made one sick to watch. After Lu Xiang separated from her, he went into the room with the book and his gift. Grandma had just finished drinking ginseng soup and her mood gradually calmed down. Hearing the footsteps of someone coming in, she subconsciously called out, "Wan girl is back. Let Grandma see her." Her eyes fell on Lu Xian's face, and she instantly became indifferent. Why is it you? What are you doing here again? Lu Xiang knew that his grandmother was angry, so he lowered his posture and sat down beside the bed with a footstool. Grandma, it was my fault for running away from the marriage. Wan and I have been together for so many years, and she is the only woman in my heart. Anin is just my sister. I can swear in front of you that I will treat Wan well in the future and never hurt her again. Grandma narrowed her eyes and her face was fierce. I'm telling you, there is a God above us. You must go to the shrine and swear in front of Guanyin Bodhisattva. If you dare to let Wan down and betray her, I will make sure you die a miserable death and have no descendants. Upon hearing this, Lu Xiang backed off in his heart. Although he had already made plans to completely draw a line between himself and Su Ningen the night before. What? You don't dare? Then don't be hypocritical in front of me. I, an old woman, won't fall for it. Lu Xiang was provoked by his grandmother. Grandma, I speak the truth, there is nothing I dare not say. As he spoke, he walked to the Buddhist temple in the next room, which was where his grandmother specially worshipped the gods and Buddhas. As soon as you enter the door, you can smell a faint scent of sandalwood. The gods and Buddhas on the shrine have gentle expressions, looking down at the world. Lu Xiang knelt on the cushion, looked up at the Bodhisattva's kind eyes, and felt inexplicably panicked. Grandma stood by with a cane. "Fa, you don't dare anymore." Lu Xiang raised his hand and swore, "I, Lu Xiang, will only love Su Wan in this life. From now on, I will never betray her. I will protect her, pamper her, and love her wholeheartedly. If I break this oath, I will not have a good end, and I will not have any descendants." Just as he finished speaking, a flash of lightning was heard in the sky outside. Boom! Chapter 23, Thunder strikes the top of the head, incense is broken and people die. Under the already dark clouds, flashes of lightning were followed by deafening thunder. The thunder was so close that I was so scared that I squatted on the spot and covered my ears. I almost thought my soul was going to fly away. When I looked up again, I found that the incense burner on the shrine had fallen in front of Lu Xiang. The burning incense inside broke into two pieces, and the ashes scattered all over the ground. This sudden change frightened the grandmother, who was struggling with a crutch, so much that her body went limp. Aunt Zhang quickly supported the grandmother. Old lady. Lu Xiang was a staunch materialist, and the incense burner that fell in front of him also made him uneasy. Grandma's face changed drastically, and she trembled as she said, "The thunder struck the top of my head, the incense was broken and people died. What evil thing did you do?" "Grandma, I didn't do anything. It was just a coincidence." Wangmar knew that the old lady believed in this the most, so she quickly called the servants to take care of the Buddhist shrine. "Old lady, this is just a coincidence. Don't take it to heart. Just go to bed first." "Auntie Wang, my heart has been beating really fast lately. I dream about Wan every day. It's been more than 10 days. That girl never goes so long without calling me." Lu Xian's face changed drastically. He knew that I had deep feelings for my grandma and I often came to see her every few days. Even if he doesn't have time, he will call grandma. I can't ignore him and ignore grandma. Lu Xiang was flustered. "Grandma, did Su Wan really not call you once these days?" Grandma glared at him and said, "Why would I lie to you about something like this?" I saw that Lu Xiang's face was pale, and I didn't know what he was thinking about. It seemed that his hands and feet were weak and he couldn't stand steadily. Has he finally realized that there is something wrong with the bloody wedding dress in the police station? A servant's voice came from outside the door. "Madam, your package was sent by the fourth young lady." As soon as he heard the name of the fourth young lady, Lu Xiang quickly stepped forward and took the package. The sender was indeed my phone number and name. The appearance of the package made him relax a lot, and he quickly opened the package. In the wooden box was a talisman and a greeting card I left for my grandma. "This is the amulet I got for my grandmother after I went to Lingshan and kowtowed 3 times and 9 times before I got married. I hope she will be in good health." At that time, I had planned to leave after the wedding, so I contacted the guy who usually delivered couriers to me in advance and asked him to deliver the items to me today. Fortunately, I managed to make it to my grandma's birthday. She looked at the greeting card, holding the amulet in her hand, and tears came to her eyes again. Aunt Zhang quickly comforted her. "This is a magic talisman from Lingshan Temple. I heard that this kind of talisman cannot be bought with just money. A sincere person must kowtow 3 times and 9 times from the foot of the mountain to the top of the mountain. Only then will the monks in the temple consecrate and bestow the talisman." Miss Wan is so filial. Grandma finally put her worries to rest. The girl's gifts have been delivered. She should be on her way. Send someone to pick her up at the gate. Okay. Lu Xiang, who was standing by, stared at the talisman in his grandmother's hand. He held Aunt Zhang's hand and said, "Aunt Zhang, you said that one has to kneel 3 times and kowtow 9 times to ask for this kind of talisman." "Yes, there are 39,999 steps from the foot of the mountain to the top. It takes a whole day for people to seek talismans. Many people with weak health fainted halfway." I knew he must have been thinking of the year when he encountered the earthquake, and I sent him to the airport before he left and gave him an amulet with a smile. He never believed in gods or Buddhas. He just threw the gift I gave him into his wallet when he saw it. He touched my scratched forehead and asked me what happened. I smiled and said I bumped into it accidentally, and he didn't ask any further questions. Many people died in that earthquake, but he suffered only minor skin injuries. The only loss was that his wallet was never found again. Now he realized that the amulet was not easy to come by. When Grandma saw him staring at her amulet, she hid it in her arms and said, "What are you looking at?" "This is a gift from Wan." Lu Xiang smiled helplessly. "Grandma, you think too much. I used to have an amulet like this. By the way, this is the Buddhist scripture and jade pendant that I found specially. I hope you are in good health." He handed over the Buddhist scripture. When Grandma heard it was a Buddhist scripture, she took it seriously. She looked at the book with a strange look in her eyes. "Why does this scripture look different from the others? It was made by a senior monk using special materials and specially blessed. It will definitely help you get better soon." Grandma's fingers were stroking the scriptures, and I tried my best to stop her. "Grandma, no, you can't have it. I'm already dead, and I don't care about the outcome. What I care about is how sad my grandma will be when she finds out in the future that my skin was used. She is so old, she will not be able to bear such a blow." Su Ningen knew that my grandmother loved me the most, so he used this method to stimulate her. I only regret that I didn't drag her to hell while I was alive. At this moment, I really hope that God can give me another chance to be reborn, so that I can fulfill my final filial duty and take revenge. But I could do nothing but watch my grandma carefully stroke the Sanskrit words on the scriptures. Maybe it was the natural induction between family members. Grandma seemed to like it very much. She stroked it carefully, just like she touched my head when I was a child. I murmured over and over again, "Grandma." Grandma put away the sutra and returned the jade pendant to Lu Xiang. "I'll take the sutra, you take this back. Don't forget the promise you made to the Bodhisattva, to love her and protect her for the rest of your life." Lu Xiang promised solemnly, "Grandma, I will do it." He looked so serious that it made me sick. Thanks to Sunningen, after giving the scriptures to my grandmother, my body can stay with her temporarily. As it was getting dark, Grandma put the Buddhist scriptures aside and called Aunt Wan over. "Wan girl should be back soon. Bring me the tang suit she gave me and comb my hair. I can't let her see me in such a mess. Don't worry, old lady. I will make sure you look smart and neat." Grandma put on her tang suit with great effort and added a fur coat, making her look wealthy and elegant. I often say that my grandmother was also a great beauty when she was young, but she says that I am the most like her. But she was too weak to stand for a long time and could only sit in a wheelchair. Antoine gave her another blanket and stood behind her to comb her grey hair behind her head. By the way, where the Aobai earrings that Miss Wan gave me? Good. Grandma's face was full of joy. I think Lu Xiang still has some true feelings for her. That's not the case. After all, we have been childhood sweethearts for so many years. When Wan comes back, we'll have a baby. I want to live a few more years and watch her give birth before I can close my eyes. As long as she's happy, I'll be relieved. It was snowing heavily outside again, like the tears that I couldn't shed falling down. I'm sorry, Grandma, you can't wait for me. Chapter 24. Su Wan will definitely come. The family urged her several times, and Grandma touched up her makeup before Wang Mar pushed her out. Miss Wan should be here soon, don't keep her waiting for too long. Wang Mar joked, you only think about the fourth young lady. There are many dignitaries here today. Grandma's eyes were tinged with pride. How can they be as important as my granddaughter? Oh, where is the share transfer document I asked you to prepare? Everything is ready. We can go through the transfer formalities tomorrow. Madam, if you give all your shares to Miss Wan, I'm afraid that our family will be in turmoil again. Humph, if they don't love Wan, they won't let others love her either. After all, Wan is a daughter who is married off and spilled, so what does it have to do with them if I give her shares? Besides, you saw today that group of blind people were played around by Suningen, so what do you expect Wan to get in the future? I have to slowly transfer my property to her while I'm still alive. Miss Wan is lucky to have a grandmother who cares about her so much. I felt really bad listening to this. My grandma is so nice, it's a pity that I can never enjoy her kindness again. Antoine pushed the wheelchair and took a shortcut to the banquet hall. Before she got close, I heard a low, cold voice. Haven't you found him yet? It's been so many days. How could a living person disappear? Master Lu, we have searched all the places we should look for. Could it be that? The conversation stopped abruptly. The master and servant fell silent as they saw Grandma and her group. I felt something was a little strange. What was he looking for? Was he looking for me? That was unlikely. It was clear that I had only met him a few times. Lu Xiang didn't even care about me, so how could Lu Yanchen be looking for me everywhere? I must be overthinking it. The heavy snow fell like a dense net under the street lights. Lu Yanchen was wearing a black suit, and his inky hair and shoulders were stained with a layer of white. Those sharp pupils were as cold as ever. When he saw that it was Grandma, he lowered his head slightly and said respectfully, "Old lady." Grandma looked at him for a while, then said uncertainly, "You are that child from the Lu family." Anyone who sees him for the first time will subconsciously think of his identity as an illegitimate child. Junior Lu Yanchen, I have come to congratulate the old lady on her birthday. RG. Shinji, who was sitting in a wheelchair, walked towards Grandma holding a wooden box. He bent over and said respectfully, "Madam, this is authentic 1,000-year-old wild ginseng. You can keep it to nourish your body." The Su family had no shortage of treasures, but wild 1,000-year-old ginseng was indeed rare, so Grandma did not refuse. "You are thoughtful." Aunt Zhang at the side hurried forward to collect it. "Thank you, Mr. Lu. It's cold and slippery outside, Master Lu, you should go to the hall to warm up." Grandma's attitude towards him was not as disgusted as Lu Xian's. "I don't like crowds. I came here to celebrate the old lady's birthday. My intentions have been conveyed, so I won't join in the fun." Lu Yanchen made a few polite remarks and spoke again. "By the way, I didn't see Miss Wan in the hall just now. I heard that she didn't come back from the wedding banquet and hasn't returned to the Lu family in these days. I guess you went back to serve the old lady, right? Girl Wan sent me a gift today, but I didn't see her. I guess she was delayed by something." Aunt Zhang also added, "Miss Wan has always been filial. No matter where she is, she will come back every year for the old lady's birthday. She should be on the way. Since Mr. Lu is here, he can also share in the good fortune. Why not eat the cake before leaving?" Lu Yanchen, who was about to leave, changed his mind for some reason and said, "Sorry for disturbing you." The two of them sat in wheelchairs and came to their hall one after the other. Lu Yanchen was a loner and did not show his face in front of others. He let Shinji push him to a dimly lit corner. Looking at that gloomy handsome face, I felt suspicious. Was he deliberately trying to find out about me? But we have no intersection, and he has mentioned my whereabouts several times. Is this a coincidence? The hall was bustling with activity. Everyone came with a kind smile on their face to wish Grandma a happy birthday, and Grandma responded with a smile. Grandma's eyes searched the crowd, she was looking for me. In addition to Grandma, Lu Xiang is also the same. I stayed beside Lu Xiang and heard my mother complaining in a low voice, Su Wan is really something. She hasn't come yet at this late hour. She is getting more and more outrageous. She doesn't even care about the birthdays of her elders. Mom, my sister must have been delayed by something. How about I ask my friends in Yuncheng to ask around and see if there's any trace of my sister? My mother took Su Ninggen's hand and patted it. You are the one who makes me worry less. Father Lu walked to Lu Xian's side, nudged him lightly with his elbow, and whispered, You and Su Wan haven't reconciled yet. Where's that girl? Lu Xiang was obviously a little flustered. How was he going to tell his father that we had lost contact after I disappeared? She's on her way and will be here soon. Okay, go pick her up at the door. This will show your sincerity. Good. Lu Xiang walked towards the door and noticed Lu Yanchen drinking tea in the corner. Their eyes met. Lu Xiang held his breath and walked out without going up to say hello. He was convinced that I must have been stuck in traffic and that I would not miss my grandmother's birthday. In order to make me feel sorry for him, he even deliberately stood under the streetlight and let the snow fall all over him. If I come back, the first thing I see is him turning into a snowman to pick me up. By that time, my heart will be filled with only heartache, so how can I have time to be angry? He knows my temper very well and is very good at controlling me. We had an argument before, and he even caught a cold on purpose to make me worry. I flew to him regardless of everything and ran around for him, completely forgetting that we had just parted ways unhappily because of Su Ninggen not long ago. It's a pity that his self-torture tactic didn't work this time. I just stood there and watched coldly how long he could hold out. Every half a minute or so he would look at his watch. He had been waiting in the snow for 15 minutes, which was his limit. How could he know that in order to get that amulet for him that year, I walked 3 steps and kowtowed 9 times in the heavy snow? It was a windy and snowy day. The wind and snow blocked my eyes. Even though I was fully armed, I was still freezing cold and my face felt like it was scraped by a knife. I had a high fever the night I came back, and he had no idea about it. I spent a whole day in the snow and ice, but he only stayed there for 15 minutes before he was too cold to go back to the hall. Su Ninggen hurried over to brush the snow off his body, but Lu Xiang immediately pushed her away. There were so many eyes watching him, so he always remembered to draw a line between himself and Su Ninggen. No one thought much about it. My mother looked at the time and saw that the cake cutting was originally scheduled for 7 o'clock. She whispered in her grandmother's ear, Mom, it's getting late. Let's cut the cake. The guests are still hungry. Grandma looked across the crowd but still didn't see me, and her face darkened. Wait a little longer, Miss Wan will be back soon. She said she would celebrate my birthday. Chapter 25, Even after death, people still spread rumors about me. My mother looked unhappy and lowered her voice and said, Mom, there are so many distinguished guests here. We can't neglect them just because of her. It's snowing hard tonight and the flight may be delayed. Let's just leave a piece of cake for her. Grandma, maybe Su Wan never planned to come back. The eldest brother added. Everyone was urging Grandma to cut the cake quickly, not noticing that the light in her eyes was getting dimmer and dimmer. Wan girl promised me that she would be on time. She never misses an appointment. Something must have happened. I can't get through her phone. Have you guys gone to Yuncheng to look for her? The parents looked at each other and saw embarrassment in each other's eyes. They never thought of looking for me at all. After all, I always came back on my own after venting my anger. She disappeared on her own initiative. If we go looking for her, wouldn't that just encourage her bad behavior? She'll turn off her phone and fly around the world whenever she's unhappy. Where are we going to find her? Yes, she is old enough and has good hands and feet. She will come back naturally when she has had enough fun outside. When Grandma heard the nonchalant words from her family members, she felt disappointed. Over the years, I rarely complained to her, and she could only hear the whole story from the servants and others. Only when she saw my family's attitude toward me did she realize how miserable my life was. You are a bunch of heartless people. She is your own daughter, your own sister. She has been missing for so many days and none of you cares about her. Grandma was so angry that her chest heaved. Grandma, I found my sister's whereabouts. Suningen held up the phone and shouted loudly, instantly attracting everyone's attention. Where? Grandma stopped cursing and quickly took Suningen's phone. There is a disco video on the phone. Amid the lights and party, a woman with a figure similar to mine is dancing passionately with a man. The woman was wearing cool clothes and danced even more revealingly. The light was dim and I could not make an accurate judgment with only the side view. But when Suningen said it was me, everyone subconsciously drew their conclusion. I accidentally saw this from my friend's circle of friends in Yuncheng. My sister was having a great time at the bar. She might have forgotten Grandma's birthday. No wonder the gifts were prepared in advance. She had no intention of coming back. My grandmother's eyesight was not very good and she didn't believe that the person was me. She asked the servant to bring her reading glasses so that she could take a closer look. Lu Xian's face was incredibly cold. He watched the video 3 times, staring at the black mole above the woman's fair chest, which was easier to identify than her face. Grandma put on her reading glasses and looked around. I don't think this is WAN girl. The light is so bad that I can't tell whether it is a human or a ghost. Grandma, please stop saying nice things to my sister. She is just that kind of woman. She was always involved with men before. I didn't tell her because I was afraid my brother would get angry. This time she took advantage of my brother's escape from marriage to leave on purpose. Is she trying to get revenge on my brother, or has she already had an affair with someone? Who knows? You damned girl, you dare to slander your sister based on just this video, you. Grandma was still trying to say something nice to me, but Lu Xiang, who hadn't spoken a word, said coldly, "It's Su Wan, I'm sure of it." As soon as these words were spoken, everyone around was shocked. He is the one who sleeps by my side, and if he has agreed, then that is the final word. I didn't expect that Master Lu had this secret behind his escape from marriage. I've already said it. If Su Wan is not wrong, why would she run away from the marriage? She might have secretly hooked up with the adulterer. Master Lu is really miserable. Su Wan has no shame at all. She even talks about childhood sweethearts. Maybe they have already had sex outside for a long time. Listening to the increasingly harsh discussions of the crowd, I thought I would no longer be angry about this scumbag and bitch, but now I was furious. Suningen has already snatched my paintings away, but I didn't expect that she would not let go of my reputation either. She even made up obscene rumors about me after my death, causing me to be stepped on and cursed by thousands of people. She has such a cruel heart. As for Lu Xiang, he was even more stupid. We had slept in the same bed together, but he made a conclusion based on the similar profile that was somewhat unclear and the black mole on the chest. Is he stupid, or am I just such an undisciplined person in his heart? After hearing those unbearable words, I slowly withdrew from the crowd. But a male voice was heard in the corner, "Master Lu, do you want to take action? It is clear that Miss Su is not in Yuncheng. This person is not her at all. There's no need. At this critical juncture, it will only add fuel to the fire and make people turn their attention to me again. If the word gets out that she has an affair with Uncle Lu Xiang, do you think it will sound better than it does now?" Lu Yanchen sighed softly, "People's words are scary, let's go, she probably won't come." I was stunned. How did he know that I was not in Yuncheng? Unless Lu Yanchen had already confirmed it. But why would he do something that my husband didn't do? No wonder he repeatedly tested me in front of Lu Xiang and Grandma. Is he worried about me? He's the only one who cares about my reputation. I closed my eyes and thought about the time when I had a miscarriage due to the stimulation of Suningen. That day I was covered in blood. I crawled to the door, and before I passed out I seemed to see a pair of high-end leather shoes on a wheelchair. It was he who made me have an abortion as soon as possible. Although I didn't save the baby, I minimized the damage to my body. When the doctor outside the operating room asked the family members to sign, I heard a charming male voice in a trance. It was him. Half a month before the wedding, I saw him again. His expression was cold and he asked me, "If you don't want to, I can cancel this marriage for you." At that time, my mind was full of extreme thoughts of taking revenge on the two of them at the wedding, so I refused without thinking. Uncle Xiang and I have been childhood sweethearts, and marrying him is my lifelong wish. The cold wind blew on his face, covering him with a layer of icy mist, making it difficult for me to see his expression clearly. After standing for a long time, when my legs were numb, he said calmly, "I wish you happiness." He left me with an indifferent back and went abroad that day. Even so, I still sent him a copy of the invitation and some souvenirs, but he didn't come on the wedding day. I didn't have much interaction with him, but why was Liu Yanchen so anxious to find me after I disappeared, even though even my family didn't care? If I'm not mistaken, he came here today not just to celebrate Grandma's birthday, but to confirm whether I would be there. Is he caring about me? The noisy crowd gradually calmed down, and the servants pushed in a large cake with more than 10 layers. Everyone gathered around Grandma to congratulate her, putting aside the video for the moment. In the flickering candlelight, I saw many hypocritical faces. Only Grandma looked worried. I walked around to my grandma and sang the birthday song in a voice she couldn't hear. "Grandma, make a wish." Grandma closed her eyes, clasped her hands together, and looked very pious. Her voice was very low. "I wish WAN girl a safe and smooth life, without worries." She blew out the candle. I looked at her with my eyes full of smiles, and whispered in her ear, "Grandma, please live well with my share, and live a long and healthy life." Chapter 26:11, You're back. After cutting the cake, everyone sat down to eat, and Grandma went back to her room saying she was not feeling well. I returned to the Buddhist scriptures and waited quietly. Grandma's voice came from the door, "Auntie Wang, please ask someone to go to Yuncheng to check. I think something is wrong." "Old lady, are you so sure that the person in the video is not Miss WAN?" Grandma glared at Wang Ma and said, "I watched WAN grow up. I know her personality. If she falls in love with someone else, she will divorce Lu Xiang first. She won't do such a thing while married." "That's right. Miss WAN has rejected so many suitors over the years. She has always been rational, and it is unlikely that she would do something like turning love into hate and using her body to retaliate against Mr. Lu." Grandma gritted her teeth and said, "I, an old woman, can understand such a simple truth, but her childhood sweetheart Lu Xiang is being led by the nose. When WAN comes back, I will make her divorce Lu Xiang. The most important thing in marriage is trust. If even your husband doesn't trust you, is there any point in being together?" My eyes were sore as I listened to her, and every word my grandma said pierced my heart. She could figure out something, but the people who grew up with me couldn't. Anyway, have someone investigate Yuncheng privately to see what WAN is doing there. "Okay, old lady, you should wash up first and have a rest early. Maybe Miss WAN will be back tomorrow." "Okay." Grandma sighed and went to the bathroom to wash up. At 10 o'clock in the evening, Grandma drank the medicine, but she stared at the cake she had placed on the table. She had looked at it many times tonight. "Old lady, go to sleep. It's not 12 o'clock yet. I'm waiting for Miss WAN." When she talked about me, a kind light flashed in her eyes. That girl has loved sweets since she was a child. I also spoiled her and found a master to teach her how to make sweets for her. She is a kind-hearted person. When I got old and my legs and feet were not convenient, she often came to cook for me. She said, "I watched her grow up, and she protected me as I grew old." As she spoke, she started to cry with laughter. "Auntie Wang, that girl has always been filial. She will definitely come back. I'm so scared that something has happened to her. Oh my old lady, Miss WAN is not a child anymore. What could possibly happen to her at such a young age? Besides, if something really happened, the news is so advanced now that it would have reached the Su family's ears long ago." Aunt Wang patted Grandma's shoulder as if she was coaxing a child. "It's okay, Miss WAN was just mad at Mr. Lu. Women like to be petty. She didn't come back and turned off her phone on purpose because she was afraid that Mr. Lu would contact her through us. This time she must be angry with Mr. Lu. Didn't she even ask for a lucky charm for you? Miss has you in her heart." Grandma then wiped her tears and said, "Yes, nothing will happen to WAN girl. That bastard Lu Xiang should be taught a lesson. That's right. Miss WAN will feel bad if you cry until your eyes get hurt." Grandma took one last look at the cake and said, "If she comes back, make sure she eats the cake. I saved it for her." Okay, you take a rest. I'll go and hold the door for you. If Miss WAN comes back, she'll let you know as soon as possible." After listening to the conversation between the two, I reached out to grab the cake. I really wanted to have a bite, even if it was just the last bite, because that was my grandma's wish. I screamed in agony as I pushed my fingers through the cake over and over again, but no one could hear me. Oh my God, why am I the one who died? I won't give in. Why do good people not live long, but bad people can live for thousands of years? Grandma tossed and turned in bed, unable to fall asleep. She held the scriptures in her arms, as if the scriptures could give her some comfort. Her arms are so warm, just like the way she held me when I was a child. It's so warm that I want to be human again and fulfill those wishes. It was not until midnight that my grandma didn't wait for me, so she fell asleep with a look of resentment on her face. I also left my grandma and returned to Lu Xian's hands. He didn't sleep, but was in a nightclub, surrounded by bright lights, wine, and beautiful women. His slender fingertips kept turning the beads in his hand to relieve his inner irritability. One of his good friends, Liang Mo, handed him a glass of whiskey. Brother Yang, this must be a misunderstanding. Don't we know sister-in-law's personality? When we were in college, a senior wanted to pursue her desperately, but she still firmly chose you, didn't she? It's just a video of her profile. Maybe she looks like my sister-in-law. Lu Xiang didn't say anything, but poured glass of wine into his mouth one after another. A woman next to him wanted to rub against him. Mr. Lu, even though Mrs. Lu ran away, you still have us. Why don't you let me relieve your loneliness? Lu Xiang smashed the wine glass and said, "Get lost." At one command, all the beauties in the room disappeared. Liang Mo wanted to persuade him, but Lu Xiang said bluntly, "Get out too." Lu Xiang was the only one left in the huge room. He had already drunk quite a bit of wine when I arrived. His stomach must have hurt again. He pressed his stomach and called my name randomly. Su Wan, why did you betray me, why? Without getting a response from me, he picked up his phone and started to send a voice message. Su Wan, if you dare to betray me, I will never let you go. Su Wan, just wait for me. I will come to Yuncheng tomorrow. You can't escape. The assistant pushed the door open and was shocked to see the man leaning against the sofa with a gloomy face, bloodshot eyes, and a hint of cruelty in his decadence. Mr. Lu, you are drunk. I will take you home. Go home? Su Wan isn't here, why should I go home? My wife is in Yuncheng. You asked me to book a flight to Yuncheng tomorrow. Did you forget? I can see my wife tomorrow. You can go home and have a good rest tonight. Lu Xiang stood up, his body unsteady. Yes, Wan doesn't like me staying out overnight. I want to go home, home. He returned to the wedding room drunk, and the person who opened the door was Su Ningen. The assistant was shocked. Miss, why are you here? I was worried that my brother might be upset, so I came to check on him. Why did you let him drink so much? The two men helped Lu Xiang to the living room. Lu Xiang leaned on the backrest, drunk and unconscious. Okay, let me do it here. It's getting late, so go back first. The assistant felt that something was not right. After all, they were both not children anymore, and they were a single man and a single woman. Mr. Lu drank too much. Miss, you are alone and I am afraid. I told you to leave, don't you understand? Su Ningen's expression suddenly changed, scaring the assistant so much that he quickly got up and left. Before he left, he looked at the person who was carefully wiping Lu Xian's face. It was clear that her eyes were full of love, not the look a sister gives her brother. When closing the door, he saw Su Ningen kissing Lu Xiang. The assistant didn't dare to look at it anymore and left quickly. Lu Xiang was dizzy and mistook Su Ningen for me. He was overjoyed and said, Wan, you're back. He turned the passive position into active one, and the two of them became entangled in one. I stood coldly by and looked out through the floor-to-ceiling window. On the big tree opposite, one camera accurately captured the two people shamelessly entangled. Chapter 27. No surprise, he knew the truth right away. The hungover Lu Xiang slept until the afternoon before waking up dizzy. Before he opened his eyes, he stroked the smooth back of the woman in his arms, muttering, Wan. But when he opened his eyes, he was startled to see the woman in front of him, and he pushed Su Ningen away. Why is it you? I sat on the table nearby, swinging my legs gently, watching this farce leisurely. When I saw this scene again, the anger I had at the beginning no longer existed in my heart, only calmness and indifference remained. When the sun shines on me through the French windows, I find that my body has become lighter. I seemed to understand why I appeared next to Lu Xiang after my death. Maybe it was because I was involved with this person most of my life when I was alive. Even if he hurt me and betrayed me, I can't let go of this person easily. My obsession was so deep that my soul was uncontrollably trapped beside him. When I saw his true nature, my previously unwilling heart gradually calmed down. I think the day I truly let him go will be the day I disappear from this world. Su Ningen looked aggrieved on the bed. Lu Xian's first reaction when he saw her was to push her away. Her eyes were full of hurt. Brother, when you left yesterday, I noticed that you looked a little unhappy and was very worried, so I came to check on you. Who knew that you got drunk and mistook me for your sister? We. Lu Xiang stroked his forehead, his expression looking very painful, as if he didn't want to have any relationship with Su Ningen. I just think it's ridiculous that a man can't get an erection if he's really drunk. Last night he hugged Su Ningen and did it several times, each time lasting longer than the last. I saw he was very happy, so why is he pretending to be innocent now? Su Ningen sobbed and cried, Brother, I really didn't want to destroy the relationship between you and sister. I didn't want to, but you kept calling sister's name when you were drunk, and I felt sorry for you, so. Lu Xiang couldn't bear to see her cry, so he pulled her into his arms and said, It's none of your business. It's my fault. Su Ningen leaned in Lu Xian's arms, with the corners of his mouth slightly raised. That was the medal of the winner. Brother, when sister comes back, you can live well with her. I will never disturb you again. Anan, you are so kind, how can I let you go? The two of them talked sweet nothings in bed for a long time, and then Lu Xiang remembered that he had asked his assistant to book a flight to Yuncheng today. He had overslept a long time ago, and he angrily called his assistant. Why didn't you remind me? I missed my plane. The assistant had long felt that his relationship with Su Ningen was too ambiguous, and this was confirmed last night. A single man and a single woman, with passion and alcohol, it goes without saying what they will do. He is not stupid enough to be so blind. I'm sorry, Mr. Lu, you were very drunk last night, and I was afraid to disturb your rest. You are becoming more and more useless. Lu Xiang sighed, well, you can move to a neighboring city and choose another route to enter Yuncheng. Okay, Mr. Lu. Su Ningen, who was standing by, took his hand and said, Brother, I will go with you to pick up my sister this time. I want to apologize to her in person. Once my sister vents her anger, she will come back. Lu Xian's face was filled with relief, his eyes full of heartache and pity. If your sister was half as sensible as you, she wouldn't give me such a headache. Brother, I think my sister was just too angry and deliberately let other men provoke you. You two should have a good talk and you will definitely be able to make peace. She knew very well what men cared about most, and she mentioned that man again and again in front of Lu Xiang. Lu Xian's eyes gradually turned cold, staring at her face and asked, Do you know something? I'm worried about my sister, so I called my friend last night to ask about her. It just so happens that he knows the man who danced with my sister, and he said. What did you say? Lu Xiang grabbed her wrist tightly until a red mark appeared. That man is a famous playboy. He has attracted many beautiful women with his handsome appearance. He is quite good at that, so many women become addicted to him after trying him once. They are willing to degenerate and even become his lovers. However, my sister will definitely not do that. Lu Xiang was so angry that his facial features were distorted. His mind must have been filled with the scene in the passionate dance video where a woman clung to a man's arms and swayed, with the man's fingers moving up along the woman's slender waist little by little. Brother, you hurt me. Feel sorry. Lu Xiang let go of her hand, got up from the bed and went into the bathroom. Su Ningen stared at his back, a triumphant smile on his lips. That day, the two of them boarded a plane to Liuxia. Liuxia and Yuncheng are adjacent to each other. After arriving in Liuxia, they still had to take a more than 10-hour drive over mountains and hills to get to Yuncheng. It seems that the video has greatly stimulated Lu Xiang. He, who has lived a pampered life, actually chose to travel by land to find me immediately. I sat in the passenger seat with my feet up, admiring the beautiful mountain scenery while mocking this idiot in my heart. If he had asked someone to check my boarding records, he would have known that I had never been to Yuncheng. Who made him trust Su Ningen so much? He never doubted that Su Ningen gave everyone the wrong direction from the beginning. But thanks to him, I was able to see the scenery after my death that I didn't see during my lifetime. The setting sun disappeared between the mountains, taking away the last ray of daylight. There weren't many cars on the road, and there were no street lights. It was pitch black outside, and occasionally you could see a crow flying by. "Brother, I'm so scared." Su Ningen took the opportunity to hide in Lu Xian's arms. The young assistant's driving was simply unbearable to watch. Ever since he found out about the relationship between the two of them, he has been worried all the time. I felt so relaxed that I was even guessing what Su Ningen's next move would be. What was she and the person who killed me up to? Watching her playing with Lu Xiang like walking a dog, I actually felt an inexplicable sense of pleasure. Along the way, I imagined countless possibilities, such as the car having an accident in the wilderness, but nothing happened that night, and the car arrived in Yuncheng early the next morning. Lu Xiang didn't close his eyes all night, and his eyes were filled with scarlet bloodshot. The closer he got to Yuncheng, the uglier his expression became. Su Ningen told me the address of the rental house that my relative had found for me, and drove straight to the destination. When we reached the entrance of the alley, Lu Xiang shook off Su Ningen and walked over quickly. If I hadn't watched the whole show last night, I would have thought that he was really worried about me. After knocking on the door and no one answered, Lu Xiang violently kicked the wooden door open. "Su Wan," he shouted sharply. There were 2 pieces of men's clothing scattered around the living room, and some used men's slippers were placed at the entrance. Lu Xiang was furious, his eyes fixed on the bedroom door, and he kicked it open. Chapter 28. She didn't even go to Yuncheng. Where did you find Miss Su? There was no one in the bedroom and it was very messy. Several men's and women's clothes were scattered randomly on the bed, and the man's smelly socks were piled up and thrown away on the wooden floor. There were several trash cans for used condoms and 2 by the bed. Just as Su Ningen said, men are very strong in that aspect. From the battle in the room, you can see how crazy the 2 of them are together. "Su Wan, get out here." Lu Xiang kicked over the trash can like a madman, pulled the quilt on the bed to the ground, and smashed the room at will. "Brother, what's wrong with you?" Su Ningen ran in, looked at everything in the room and covered his mouth. "Oh my god, what on earth did my sister do in Cloud City?" Lu Xian's eyes were bloodshot at this moment, and he wished he could catch me and skin me alive. The noise in the yard still attracted the attention of the neighbors. The neighbor bit on a cigarette and spoke with an accent from another place. "That couple? They left with their suitcases yesterday evening. I heard they were going to pursue some kind of freedom. God knows where they went." He looked up and down at Lu Xiang, who was dressed in a suit and tie, and asked, "Who are you?" Lu Xiang grabbed the man's collar. He wasn't too stupid. He pointed at the room and asked, "What's the woman's name?" "Name? I don't know. I only heard people call her Miss Su." "Are you her friend?" "TSK, to be honest, that woman is really wild. She has a lot of fun with her boyfriend every day. Her screams can be heard on the 3rd floor." Bang! Lu Xiang punched the man in the face. "Sorry, it's too early to say this, he has some intelligence but not much. When he heard the last name was Su, he thought it was me. He didn't even think about the fact that I have obsessive-compulsive disorder. How could I allow the room to be so messy? It's a pity that once a blind person has determined a certain result, the thing on his neck is just a decoration." Lu Xiang was furious and threatened his assistant. "I don't care what method you use, I will find Su Wan for me even if I have to dig deep into the ground." I squatted under the old tree in the yard and counted the ants. I can't find it anymore. The skin was peeled off and the bones were ground up. I don't know if the meat was made into sausage or dried bacon. The assistant couldn't hear my complaints and quickly said, "Yes." Lu Xiang held onto the doorframe tightly, looking at the quiet courtyard with pain in his eyes. "Su Wan, I treat you well, why do you treat me like this?" "Brother, don't be sad, my sister. Don't say nice things to her. She is such a slutty bitch at heart. It's my fault that I was blind and didn't see her true face until today. I'm too lazy to complain, just curse." I'm curious about how painful his face was when he found out the truth. He flew back home angrily with Su Ningen. And the dance video that looked like mine also became a hot topic. Don't even think about how I was scolded, but I'm already dead, so who cares? When the Su family learned about this trip to Yuncheng, they became even more furious. My mother slammed the table and stood up. "I have long said that girl is not an easy person to deal with. Now she has embarrassed herself to such an extent. How will others view our Su family? Mom is planning to secretly give her the shares. Does she deserve it? I say just leave the shares to Anan as a dowry. Shiyang, we are really sorry for raising such a daughter. If you want to divorce, we have no objection. Yeah, luckily you don't have children, so divorce isn't. Lu Shiyang raised his head, staring at my mother with scarlet eyes. I won't get a divorce. My mother was so frightened that her body trembled. Lu Shiyang looked so scary. Su Ningnan took his arm and said, "Brother, sister has betrayed you. If you continue like this, you will become a joke in the circle. My parents also feel sorry for you. Divorce is good for you and sister." I finally understood Su Ninggan's purpose. She knew very well that Lu Shiyang would not divorce me, so she did this to create the illusion that I cheated on her and eloped with my lover. As long as Lu Shiyang unilaterally files for divorce, the marriage will automatically become invalid after 2 years of separation, and she will be willing to marry Lu Shiyang. She had planned everything from the beginning. Kill me, frame me, and make me look like a woman who can be slept with by anyone, so that Lu Shiyang can give up the relationship he has had with me for so many years and marry her with peace of mind. For a man, she actually hired someone to kill her own sister. I just felt heartbroken. I treated her well when she was a child, and I protected her everywhere when she was not treated well in the Lu family. Instead of waiting for sisterly love, what I waited for was a stab in the back. Su Ninggan, you are so cruel. Just as the family was scolding me and Lu Xian's face was filled with pain and hideousness, an old voice rang out at the door, "Shut up, you shameless little whore." Aunt Wang pushed Grandma in. Grandma was sitting in a wheelchair with a gloomy face, just like the layers of dark clouds piling up behind her. A snowstorm was about to come. "Mom, why are you here?" Grandma came here specially from the old house this time. She hasn't gone out for many days since she was bedridden, let alone in such cold weather. Her parents stood up and welcomed her in. Su Ninggan met her grandmother's eyes and a hint of uneasiness flashed in them. Grandma's expression was extremely cold. "If I hadn't come, you would still be fooled by this goblin." Su Ninggan covered her chest with tears in her eyes, looking aggrieved. "Grandma, I went to Yuncheng specially to apologize to my sister, but I didn't expect that she had already been living with a strange man. What did I do wrong?" Grandma ignored her and looked at Lu Shiyang. "Lu Shiyang, let me ask you, do you believe that Wan would do such a thing?" Lu Shiyang's bloodshot eyes met his grandmother's, his face full of struggle. I don't know. I naturally believe in Su Wan's character, but it is also a fact that she had an affair with someone else." "The truth?" Grandma laughed. My mother tried to smooth things over. "Mom, this is that damn girl's fault, please stop forcing her." "Shut up!" Grandma roared domineeringly, and my mother immediately fell silent. Grandma glanced at everyone present. "So that's what you all think." No one dared to anger Grandma. Although no one admitted it, silence meant consent. Grandma sneered, "Okay. You are a bunch of ruthless people. I finally know what kind of life Wan Year 2 has lived. Lu Shiyang, Wan Year 2 is your wife. Since you don't even trust your own wife, you can divorce her when I find her." Lu Shiyang frowned slightly. "Grandma, Su Wan was wrong in this matter. She betrayed me, and I didn't even discuss divorce. You love your granddaughter so much, why don't you hope for her well?" Grandma seemed to be smiling but not smiling, and seemed to be crying but not crying. She pointed at Lu Xian's nose and scolded him angrily. "Why? Because you are not worthy of Wan girl at all. You said she cheated on you. Did you see it with your own eyes? Or did you catch her in bed with her lover?" Although I didn't see her, the neighbors all said that the person who rented the house was Miss Su. What a Miss Su! Although my granddaughter bought a ticket to Yuncheng, she didn't even board the plane. She never went to Yuncheng from the beginning to the end. Where did you find Miss Su, you idiot?